You can just try out, ma'am, to see if it's working properly. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, it is working.
So it's working? Yeah. So it's on a slideshow, yeah? No. Okay.
Yes. That's fine. Dilip Babu, should we start then?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Anuja. So please carry on.
All right. Good evening.
Starting.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting round of sessions. Welcome to the 5th day of International Level Online Faculty Development Program on Methodology of Research in Social Sciences, Latest Innovations, organized by the Department of Education in association with the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Mrinali Dr. Mohabiddapit College, in collaboration with the Faculty Development Center, University of Mizoram, and Department of Education, Jadavpur University. Our first speaker will be Professor Dr. Wai-Yun Lau. She's made immense contribution to anthropological and psychological research. And if I have to say it loud, she is a wonderful lady to interact with. So to give a formal introduction to ma'am, Professor Dr. Wai-Yun Lau was a professor of psychology at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaysia. She is an AFBPS and FBSCH. So if I have to expand the acronym, it means the Associate Fellow of the British Psychological Society and the Fellowship of British Society and Clinical Hypnosis. She has over 250 publications in peer-reviewed journals and over 220 books and book chapters. She has supervised several PhD and other master students. Her research forte includes mental health, behavioral medicine, health, and mental psychology. Sexual reproductive health, clinical psychology, and men's health and aging also comes within the ambit of her research interests. The Asia-Pacific Academic Consortium for Public Health were fortunate enough to have Dr. Wai-Yun serve as the role of the scientific chairperson, vice president, and president during 2017 to 19. Among her many prestigious accolades, the prominent ones that we would bring forward to you were that she served as the acting director at the Faculty of Medicine. She has also been involved in research projects for strengthening the surveillance system for non-communicable diseases, prevention and control. She has also been involved in promotion of health in the ASEAN countries, that is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. She is currently a Deputy Executive Director, Research and Internalization at the Asia-Europe Institute, Malaya University. Along with it, she is also involved in Erasmus and multi-partnered joint project on research capacity building in Laos People's Democratic Republic. So I have been going through ma'am's article and the list of work that she has been doing in all these years, and there are plenty. So I cannot read out every one of them, but I would just cite the number of times that she has been referred to, that her articles are looked up to by young scholars like us, and it is an immense number. It's unimaginable. The total times that she has been viewed and searched on Google is 1,13,867 times. That is a whooping number. So we can well understand her contribution made in the field of psychology and in research. I'll just cite two papers that she has co-authored along with her fellow colleagues. The first one was published in June 2020, which I'm going to read out. That is In-Depth Validation of Craig's Verbal Autopsy and Social Autopsy, whose acronym is VASA. Tools for ascertaining determinants and causes of under 5 child mortalities in Karachi, Pakistan. The second one was published in May 2020, which I'm going to read out to you. The COVID-19 Pandemic, Public Health and Epidemiology, which also comes within her forte of interest. Along with it, the one which I found very interesting, which is Guidelines for Complementary Feeding of Infants in the Asia-Pacific Region, Public Health, nutrition group. So Asia Pacific, the South Asian countries that she is mainly concerned with. So we welcome you, ma'am. It's a fortunate for us to have you as a resource person. And in this regard, we would also like to thank Dr. Chakraborty for getting you in touch with us. And it'll be an extremely enlightening session for the participants to get to hear from you. I'm so sure about that. Our topic for today's paper presentation will be Ethic in Consideration in Research. Thank you so much. Please take
Right.
over.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anuja.
Thank you.
All of you can hear me, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. I shall proceed now. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And first of all, greetings from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and my gratitude to the organizing committee for inviting me, to present this topic on research ethics. Now, as you can see in my very first slide, I have put two lovely flowers there. Can anyone tell me what does this flower signify? Anyone at all? Let me get my chat group out. Oops, sorry. Okay, you have to read it out to me, yeah, Anuja. So what does this flower signify? Because I cannot see my chat group.
So Dr. Gangopadhyay, she replies that it reflects perfection.
Perfection, absolutely. So whenever we do a research, it has to be as perfect as possible. But of course, no research, is entirely perfect. So what else does it signify?
It signifies beauty.
Related to ethics, yes, yeah. Whenever you design, a research, any research design at all, there are good and bad points, yeah. There are strengths and weaknesses. So try to look at from, the beauty of it. In every research design, there are some very, very good points, and that's the beauty of doing research. The beauty of doing research is to, come up with the truth. Yeah. What else does it signify?
You have a couple of responses. So Dr. Manjula replies, it reflects enlightenment.
Yes, enlightenment, yeah. So that's the whole purpose of doing a research, right? Research gives you results. What we look for, especially like a master's thesis and a PhD thesis, we look for the novelty of, your research. So, it enlightens, the community, the scientific arena, and what have you. So yes, it signifies enlightenment. What else? It signifies love, right? When you're in love, you give rose to your girlfriend, right? When you go to a temple, you bring flowers to a temple, right? Right? So this is what we are all talking about. Yeah, we are talking about all these beautiful values, positive values in research. So it is your responsibility to portray, all these values that you have in your research design in the way you conduct your research. All right. And so what I will quickly walk through with you in this 1 hour lecture is basically the very fundamental principles of research ethics and what is the conduct of research if you were to do any research at all related to human beings. And of course, finally, when you're talking about research ethics, it doesn't just finish, when you finish your research, but it, carry on to your publication. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sure by now this is the 4th day of your research conference here. By now you would have known, what research is all about. It is actually a detailed study of a specific phenomenon that is of interest to you, and when you want to discover new information, of that, phenomenon that you're actually studying. And how does this research relates to ethics? Now, ethics is actually a norm, where you are able to distinguish what is acceptable and what is unacceptable behavior. And of course, all it starts, when we are very young. Yeah, when we are brought up by our parents, they will tell us what is acceptable and not acceptable in a society. And of course, what is acceptable and not acceptable behavior in a society differs from one to another. And it differs, between the time period as well. Because, perhaps in the past, it may be unacceptable, but right now it may be acceptable. And it is a method of procedure, or a perspective for deciding how to act and how to analyze complex problems and issues. So this is where we are, ethical norms in research. Yeah. So like I said again earlier, the main aim of promoting, the aims of research is to promote truth, knowledge, and we try to avoid, any error that we will have in the research. So as much as possible, we want to get rid of the errors, but if not, at least we should minimize it. And we would like to promote values that are essential for collaborative work, trust, accountability, mutual respect, and to be fair to all, to all the participants. And also it helps to ensure that researchers can be held accountable to the public. So all research that you're doing, whether it's big or it's small, you are responsible, you are accountable to the public, okay? And also it helps to build public support for research and a culture for research integrity. And that's the reason why we do need to follow strictly to research ethics, so that we want to build a culture of research integrity. You want people to believe in your data, and how should people believe in your data? It's basically, the validity of your data. And of course, it helps to promote a variety of other important moral and social values as well, in terms of social responsibility, in terms of human rights, animal welfare, compliance with the law, health, and safety as well. So all these are ethical norms in research, So ethical norms in research set the standards in which, we have to conduct, our research, right? So why do you think ethical issues arises? It arises because different researchers have different opinions on a certain phenomenon. All of us, differ, probably because of our religious background, of our, childhood background, of our because of our upbringing, and all this actually contributes to the discipline, to the society, and to mankind. So whatever you do in terms of your research, so it has to contribute to the discipline, to the society, and to humankind. So very much so, because whenever you're doing your master's or your PhD work, or even any research per se, so your contribution has to be there to the discipline. And of course, we need to safeguard the safety of the participants as well, who are involved in the research. And we do need to make, reliable decisions based on the cost and benefit of the study. So these are the questionable practices involving people without their knowledge, or without obtaining their consent. So this is very questionable. And forcing people to participate, not on a voluntary basis, but you force people to participate. So again, this is questionable practice. And withholding the true nature of the research. So instead of telling participants the true purpose of the research, they didn't divulge the full objective of the research, and they go ahead, with a question or the interview. And of course, also deceiving the research participants and leading participants to commit acts that may diminish their self-respect and dignity. So these are all the questionable practices in research. And violating rights to self-determination, all of us have the right to autonomy and to decide things on our own. And if this violation occur, then there's a violation of the right. We expose participants to harm, be it physical harm or psychological harm or emotional harm. Sometimes, for instance, you may be interviewing someone with regards to when they're experiencing grief, for instance, when they've lost someone. Now, all this emotional trauma will come back. So again, it's a psychological stress that you are incurring to your participants. And evading the privacy of the participants as well. So again, this is a questionable practice. And if you do have a benefit, an honorarium to be given to participants, but you're withholding it, and then that is questionable practice in research. And of course, unfair treatment to the participants as well. So these are some of the questionable practices. So now here is what are the fundamental principles of human research ethics. Now, I'm only stressing on human research ethics, all right? Because you also have ethics for the animals as well. If let's say you're a biologist and you're slaughtering the mouse, cats, and rat, you have to go to the animal ethics committee. But I'm dealing with the human ethics here, okay? Now, basically, number one is respect for person. And what does this entail? This is a concept where we believe people are autonomous and self-determined. Yeah. So this concept actually recognizes the capacity and the right of all individuals to make their own choice and decision. All of us, in our own right frame of mind, have the right to make our choice and have the right to make informed decisions. And especially people, vulnerable population, they need extra protection. If you're researching on any vulnerable population, those participants need special protection. Okay. The other concept, fundamental principles of human research ethics, is beneficence. Now, this is basically a concept of do good to others. Yeah, do no harm. So basically, all researchers are responsible for participants' physical, mental, and social well-being. I will go through each and every one of these in more detail later on. Now, justice is a concept of fairness. Yeah, so you need to be fair. You need to evaluate the risks and benefits to the participants. Sometimes when you engage your participants in your research, they will ask you, what is in for me? What are the benefits that that I can obtain from a research? Or what are the risks involved in participating in your study? And also, I think one needs to be fair in terms of recruitment, because everyone has the right to be involved in a study, but whether they want or not, that's entirely a different matter altogether. And the way we select participants in an equitable manner. So all these things, respect for person, beneficence, justice, these are the three most fundamental principles of human research ethics. Now, all these principles is universal. It cuts across all geographical region, cultural, economic, legal, and political boundaries. But having said that, sometimes different countries, we may not have the resources to practice all these things. So that will then be a variation between one country to another country, all right? So you are following us. So these are the three main principles of human research ethics. Respect for person, what it entails, beneficence, and justice. Right. Now, respect for person, we respect that everyone is autonomous. You have the right to make your own decision and self-determination. Can you give me some examples of vulnerable person? Anuja, you need to read out. Any of the participants here, give me examples of vulnerable population. Hello, is everyone there?
Yes. I think I can give one. Poor people. So you have an answer from Pratichi. She says poor people. I think
yes, poor people, vulnerable people. Yeah, because sometimes when you do research, because you think they are poor, so you tend to use them as your participants. Yeah.
Old and ailing.
Yes, elderly people. Yeah, they are very vulnerable people. So you do need to respect them when you are researching on the elderly. Others, transgender, LGBT, yeah, those are marginalized population. Yeah, that all the more, if you're having all these people, all the more they do need to have special protection. Okay, mentally challenged, physically challenged people, children, yeah, all these, the caste people, all these are vulnerable population, all right? So these are, some of those prisoners. Yeah, sometimes a lot of people go to the prison, to study them. Yeah, so these are some of the vulnerable population that you need, to take extra precaution if you are researching on them. Right, beneficence. Every researcher, you have the responsibility to take care of the physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being of, the participants that you're engaging in. And of course, you want to be, reducing the risk as much as possible, whatever risks, they may encounter in your research. And of course, protection of the research participant is the overriding responsibility of a researcher. So protecting them, is the primary responsibility as a researcher. Yeah, so your participants comes first rather than anything else, rather than sometimes getting your master degree, getting your research grant, getting your promotion. But then again, the participants comes first. Right, justice, the concept of fairness. You need to work out, who will bear the risk and who will benefit from your study. Yeah, because every now and again, when you engage someone in your study, These are very common questions they were asked, okay? Equitable recruitment of research participants, how do you actually recruit them? Particularly in qualitative research, they were asked you, how do you get access to them? That's very important. And of course, special protection for vulnerable population. Have a look at this. I want all of you to read it, and then I will ask you what are the fundamental principles of research. Okay, you're done reading? Yeah, okay. This is actually my study, sponsored by WHO. And right, having looked at this case study, tell me where is respect for person? Anyone? Read this script, read this study, tell me where is respect for person? No one? Okay.
I would like to answer if there is no answer from the participants.
Okay, I think there is one. Give them the opportunity, yeah, right, to hide the information. Yes, yeah, that's good, right. And where is beneficent? Beneficent, do good to others, do not do harm. Where is that? Where can you find it here?
Their identity will be kept secret. Their identity will not be revealed.
Yes, confidential information. Yeah, give them a chance to represent themselves. Okay, and finally, where is justice?
Answered by Dilip Pandey, he says, give them chance to represent themselves.
Yes, and confidentiality. Okay, right. So this is respect for person. Participants, you have to explain in detail your research project to them so that at the end of the day, whether they want to take part or not is on a voluntary basis. Yeah, you don't force them to study. You provide all this information. Yeah, all right. So they were told, about the voluntary participation, and the interview may cause emotional disturbance because they're talking about their abortion. Yeah, so it causes some emotional disturbance. Yeah, they may have to think back, and that will mentally or emotionally disturb them. And they were informed that information given will be kept private and confidential. I think that some of the participants got this right, that information are kept confidential and the identity will not be revealed. Okay, it's an anonymous study. So this respect for person in this case study indicates that researchers recognize the rights of the woman to make their own decision on whether or not to participate in the study. All right, are you following? Yeah? Okay. Right. Okay, what about beneficent? Yeah. Now, in addition to receiving a small gift in return for participation, yeah, when they participate, they get a small token of appreciation. The participants were also informed that they will be provided counseling session. Okay, you have to give something back, should they be emotionally distressed, you do need to refer them for counseling session. Yeah, and this indicates that the researcher protect the well-being of the participants to avoid any psychological harm to the patients following the interview session and the abortion experiences. So you know where this beneficent is, yeah, in the case study. And finally, where is justice? Justice is the concept of fairness. Yeah, all walk-in patients were invited to participate in the study by the researcher. So everybody get a fair chance to be, whether or not you want to take part is another story. But all of them are given an opportunity to participate. And I think some of the participants got it right. This ensures that all women are at equal chance of being chosen to participate. And furthermore, to reduce the risk and disadvantage of participation, such as the time span or emotional trauma, they are compensated with a small gift and offer counseling session should they need one. So think about your own research. Yeah, you have to walk through all this ethical process in your study. How is your research going to benefit them? And what are the risks that they might be involved? And should there be any risk in your own research, you need to mitigate them. All right. Now, in most institutions, you have your research ethics board. It's called an IRB, Institutional Review Board, or Ethics Committee, or whatever name you call it. That ethics committee will review your proposal. And this is what they be looking for in your research. Yeah, and they will question you on all these ethics. Okay, so ethical issues, consideration to be taken when conducting a research. Now, I'm going to walk through the whole research process. Yeah, right from the planning of a research until publication. Okay, I'm going to walk through stage by stage in the way you conduct your research and where are the ethics that are involved in all these various stages of your research. Okay, first of all, participation. What are ethical issues that may arise during the study? Yeah, now all institutions, I say again, most institutions, yeah, would have published a code of research ethics. Does your university has got a code of research ethics? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, in some universities they would have, yeah. I've been to other, less developing countries in other parts of Southeast Asian university. I see that some of them still do not have this code of research ethics. And all research proposal needs to be reviewed by ethics committee or the IRB. Okay, for as long as you are dealing with any human being, be it a child, a woman, a man, an elderly, your research proposal needs to go through the ethics committee. Now, very important, because at the end, if you don't have this ethics approval, yeah, you'll be caught in your publication. Because in some journal, when you publish the paper, they are going to ask you for ethics approval. And if you don't have ethics approval, the chances of you getting your article in for any form of publication will be very, very slim. All right? So try to think, right in front, your supervisor will be able to advise you that you do need to put in your proposal for ethics approval. So your university ethics committee would then evaluate your proposal. Right? Ethics consideration, we look at integrity and privacy of the people taking part in your research. They should be preserved, any information. Yeah, why they take part, why should people understand or be interested in your study? So you do need to give us a reason why people need to participate in your study. Why is your study so important? Yeah, different cultural settings require different form of consent with different degree of formality. Yeah. Again, I think this is not just between countries, but within the country itself, different universities are different. Yeah. And reasons to code of ethics or standards for conduct is based on moral principles such as universal or professional code of ethics. Yeah, like for us, any profession, you're an engineer, you are bound by the code of, professional ethics. You're a doctor, you're bound by a professional code of practice. Yeah, you're a psychologist, you're bound by the professional code of ethics. So all these things are universal principles, yeah, that one needs to follow. Now, what about a research problem statement? Yeah, I'm walking through the whole research process here. Now, you need to identify a research problem that will benefit individuals being studied. At the end of the day, in your research, it's going to benefit the community you are researching to. Yeah, maybe at this point in your life, you're so worried about getting your master's or your PhD, you don't care further than that. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we do research not just for the sake of doing research, for the sake of getting our publication out. At the end of the day, you ask yourself whether your findings will benefit the community you are researching in. Okay, and to ensure that inquiry will not further jeopardize or discriminate the participants. For instance, you are researching on gays, on homosexuals, on lesbians. You have to make sure that whatever you study, it will not further discriminate them or further marginalize them. All right? You build rapport, trust, and respect with participants via your pilot study. Very important. It depends on how sensitive the issue is. You build a rapport through your pilot study first. Now, what about research question? Yeah. Research question, where does the ethics comes in? You convey the purpose of your study to participants, very important. Yeah, before, they give their consent, yeah, you have to tell them exactly what is the main objective of your study. Now, problem arises when participants understand one purpose for the study, but the researcher has a different purpose in mind. Yeah, you think they understood you, when you tell them the objective, but the participants may think the other way. The participants sometimes may think that, oh, wow, professor, and you're asking me to do this study, you know, the imbalance, the power imbalance is there, like a teacher and a student. So I think all these things needs to be taken into account when you are designing your research question. Now, moving on, what about data collection? Where does ethics involve in data collection? Very important, you're going out to the field, yeah, you're going to a village, you are going, you know, to the site, yeah, you need to respect the participants and the site of the research. Yeah, you go in properly, you come out properly, all right? You don't create a mess and then you get out from the village, very important. And you do not put participants at risk and respect vulnerable and marginalized population, yeah? So all these, you know, they need special attention, yeah? Minor mentally challenged, people living with HIV/AIDS and what have you. And all these, how do you mitigate all these things? You acknowledge participants' right to be protected during data collection in the informed consent form. Yeah, before you know you do your study, you must obtain this informed consent, whether it's verbal or written informed consent. Okay, in data collection, you need to obtain permission from authority to get access. You know, if you're going to a village, you speak to the head of the village before you enter the village to interview, you know, your participants. And in any experimental study, investigators need to collect data so that all participants, not only the experimental group, benefit from the treatment. Very important. Yeah. Let's say you are doing an intervention. Yeah. You have the experimental group, intervention group, and you have the control group. You are giving intervention to this experimental group, and then what happens to the control group? They don't get anything. So where are the ethics involved here? So very important, you know, you have to say something like, at the end of the study, the control group are also given that intervention. Yeah, so you need to be fair to all. An issue of power inequality here, you know, what's the relationship between the researcher and the participants? Very important. Here, for example, you know, a teacher and a student. A teacher, you know, is doing a study, yeah, giving out a questionnaire to all the students. Now, sometimes the students feel that they're pressure in taking part in the study. If they don't take part, they're afraid that the teacher might fail them. So, you know, so we do need to take cognizance of all this power inequality. Like even if we're in a hospital, the doctor-patient relationship, for instance, yeah? So these are all the power inequality that one has to take cognizance of. And you have to be careful of the harmful information. It may be disclosed during data information, yeah? So harmful information, for instance, you are interviewing someone who is HIV positive, and accidentally you disclose the HIV status, you know, of the participants in public. Now, this is a big no-no. This is, you have to be careful of all this harmful information, because the minute, for instance, you're working with HIV people, the minute you disclose, accidentally you disclose their HIV status, at the end of the day, they might lose their job, for instance, all right? So be very mindful, be careful of all this information that might create a disaster to the participants, right? How do you protect individual property, individual data, confidentiality of individual information? Yeah, very important. All information is to be kept confidential and private, and you do need to obtain written informed consent from participants. Yeah, you know, when you present your report or whatever article, yeah, no names are to be mentioned. You know, any identifying information should not be there. Okay, and should you take any photograph of your participants, then you know you do need to ask permission before you take the photograph. It's the same like doing an interview. You tape record, you know, your interview. You must ask permission before you switch on your tape recorder. Okay, validity of the data. You do need to train all your collection staff. Yeah, especially, you know, who are you hiring? You know, are your research assistants trained in collecting the data? Are your enumerators trained? You know, have you walked through with them the whole questionnaire that, you know, you plan to interview your participants? So they have to be trained in terms of, you know, administering the questionnaire. And also tape recording of interviews, yeah, and perhaps you might want to use pair interviews to create more interaction, yeah, in the interview, or for instance, in a focus group interview, and incomplete data, missing, unusable data should be corrected immediately. Okay, what about data analysis? Okay, where are the ethics, yeah, within data analysis? You are working on the data, you're working on SPSS, for instance, you're working on the R software, you're working on the NBivo, Atlas, or whatever, okay, anonymity and confidentiality of participants' data in data processing and data analysis. You put all your data in SPSS, for instance, yeah, you don't care about the names, right? You just give them a number, right? 001, 002, 003. So the names are deleted from the data entry, yeah? And at the end of the day, who owns the data? Is it you, or is it the university, or who? So the ownership of the data, you've got to be clear about that. Pitfall in data analysis using ad hoc or informal analysis. If you're doing all this, then sometimes you may line up with inappropriate conclusion or unpublished results. Yeah. If you have, let's say, you're doing a quantitative study and you have very, very small sample size. So, and you try to, do some form of analysis and everything is not significant. Okay. And to get the paper out, then I think it will be troublesome. Rigorous analysis require a priori theoretical model. Yeah, I think in the past few lectures, you have heard, a lot of theories have been thrown to you, particularly those of you who are working on qualitative research. Yeah, so formal framework, especially in terms of guiding data collection and analysis, all depending on whether it's quantitative or qualitative, and what kind of analysis that you would choose to analyze all your hypotheses, to prove your hypothesis. And reporting results require analysis plan regarding data synthesis and summary. So when you do data analysis, you must have a plan. Yeah. Okay. What are you doing analysis for? So without that plan, it's very hard for you to write up, to do your analysis, and later on write up, your article or your report. And conclusion have to be a documented basis and systematic formal analysis method. So I think all these formal analysis method are all your statistical analysis. Yeah. Now moving on to writing. After you have done your research, yeah, you need to write it up. You need to disseminate your results, finding, and dissemination can come in the form of going for conference to present it in your, in your faculty, in your university, in your national conference or international conference. And that is how you disseminate your research funding. Other than that, you will disseminate your findings to writing, writing in a journal so as to educate or enlighten the scientific community. Yeah. So you discuss how the research, will not use language. Very important, the way you write as well, be very mindful of, the language that you're using. Yeah. As far as, gender is concerned, sexual orientation is concerned, and ethnic groups. Okay. And involve the potential of suppressing. You're not supposed to suppress or falsify the information, to suit, audience needs or to suit your sponsor, for instance. And in planning a study, it is important to anticipate repercussions. So conducting the research on certain audience and not to misuse the result to the advantage of one group or another. Very important, yeah. So all these are your responsibility in terms of, guarding the participants and safeguard the participants. So it is important for you to release all details of the research with your study design so that then, the reader will be able to gauge the quality of your research. Yeah. So you should not hide anything when you're writing up your work. Okay. So that's ethics in writing and dissemination of results. Now, what about consent? Consent has to be, when you obtain consent, yeah, consent is either given verbal or written. And if you're asking for consent, it has to be given by a competent individual. The word here is competent, yeah? And so very important, before you obtain the consent, you must give the necessary information of your research. The objective of research, who funds the research, what is involved in the research, should they participate in the research? So all these are necessary information that you must give to the participants before they give their consent. And they must adequately understand the information. That's why it can only be given by a competent person. If the person is mentally challenged or whatever, that person cannot give you consent. All right? So after considering the information has arrived at the decision without having subjected to cohesion or force, undue influence, or intimidation. So this is how you actually obtain consent. Okay. Now, informed consent is not just a legal document. Yeah, it is a communication process, very important. It's a communication process between the researcher and the participants. Yeah, and consent has to be obtained before your research starts, before you start collecting your data, before your pilot study. So that informed consent has to be obtained first, yeah, before you interview anyone. And it continues throughout the whole duration of your study. So it's a communication process where you start with the individual and then you end until the end of your study. So when you're asking for consent in your participation information sheet, you must put all this in your participation information sheet. Yeah. So you have a very brief description of your study, the purpose, what it entails, what does it take, what are the procedure, yeah, and what is the duration? You say it's interview, is it 20 minutes, is it 1 hour, is it 2 hours, and what is the response, expected responsibility from your side and from the participant side? Okay, what exactly do they have to do? Yeah, and it has to be voluntary participation and the right to withdraw anytime they want. Let's say you interview someone and middle of the way, you know, the person doesn't feel good and he or she has the right to withdraw from your project, okay? And so the individual is not coerced into participation. So there's no penalty for refusal, yeah? And also the participant has the right to ask any questions they want, okay, during the interview. And also the participant has the right to obtain a copy of the results, yeah? Whatever results, you have, they have the right to ask for it, okay? And then what are the benefits and risks? You have to tell them exactly what are the risks involved. For instance, the risk may involve some emotional, upset, yeah? Or what are the benefits? Yeah, the benefits is like, they get the results of whatever interview they are doing, yeah? And so, and if there are any damages caused during the process of the research, will there be any compensation, for instance? Yeah, so who will bear the cost? And confidentiality is very important, who have access to the information. And then you do need to have the signature of both the participants and the researcher, yeah, and the contact of the researcher. So once you obtain this consent with all this information, you keep a copy and the participants keeps a copy of the consent form, okay? Now moving on, the responsible conduct of research. This is shared responsibility in research process. Of course, what we want is, it's important, a very well-designed research, yeah? And the research proposal is adequately being reviewed by your supervisor, by your committee, by the funding agencies, or whosoever. And it has to be ethically conducted and properly disseminated, the findings, okay? Now, moving on is conflict of interest. Now, I believe some of you, who have published, I'm sure some of you are well published in this audience. And in the journal, very common, they will ask you, do you have any conflict of interest? So you do need to declare the conflict of interest. So exactly what is this conflict of interest? The COI conflict of interest, when your professional judgment regarding a primary interest may be influenced by a secondary interest. The secondary interest may be there's a lot of money inside this research, yeah, and as a result of that, you're influenced by the money, and therefore, that actually constitutes a conflict of interest. Yeah, a financial relationship, employer-employee. Yeah, I'm doing this research in a company, let's say they manufacture drugs, medicine, but the company is owned by my father, for instance. That would be a very clear conflict of interest, all right? And all these conflict of interest undermine the credibility of the institution, the journal, the authors, and science itself, all right? So these are the various types of competing interests, financial ties, academic commitments. Sometimes, when let's say you have a press release, so your bosses will say, if you're going for this press release, make sure you say everything good about the university. Your personal relationship, that also constitutes competing interests. Yeah, your political or religious belief and your institutional affiliation. Okay, now how do we prevent conflict of interest? You do need to declare all possible conflict of interest in research and in your publication. Very often, when you apply for research funding, they are going to ask you whether you have any COI, conflict of, and even in the journal that you're submitting your article to. So how to prevent it? Further education, educate your students, very important, and supervise well your students so that they don't have this conflict of interest. They understand clearly what this conflict of interest is all about. Last but not the least, I'm moving on to publication misconduct. Now, you don't, ethics, doesn't just finish when you finish your research. At the end of the day, I say again, you do need to disseminate your findings. And one way of disseminating your findings is through publication. Yeah? Okay. Now, the US Office of Research Integrity defines scientific misconduct, fabrication, falsification, or plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing research, and in reporting your research results. Yeah. So if you do any of this, that's considered scientific misconduct. Okay. So it's a big no-no, especially in the academia, especially for our students, for us ourselves, academics, faculty. Yeah, is a big no-no: fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism. Okay. Now, publication is the endpoint of any research. Yeah. So if anything went wrong in the research, if there's research misconduct, all this is going to affect your publication. Okay. So as much as possible, try to design a very well research so that at the end you get a good publication. You do a lousy research, you get a lousy publication. You do a good research, you get a good publication. Yeah. You maybe even enter, a high impact factor journal. Now, these are some of the publication ethics. Yeah, plagiarism. I'm sure you all are very well aware of this. I think in most universities these days, they buy softwares, and the software, will actually test, how many percent are being plagiarized. In my University of Malaya, before any students submit their thesis for examining, they have to run through this Turnitin, this software for Turnitin, and to see how many percent, is being plagiarized. Yeah, and so this is very important. You need to be careful as well with regards to self-plagiarism. You're copying your own work, you're citing your own thing. Yeah, and later on I will talk again on who deserves to be an author, what is an authorship, how to call yourself an author, and copyright as well. Most time I think students, or even young academics, now copyright normally belongs to the journal or the publisher. Now, should you use anything in a book, you want to copy a diagram, a graph, how many paragraphs, you need to seek permission from the publisher or the journal. Yeah, and normally you just introduce yourself, you're a 4th-year PhD student, and you would like to reprint this graph in the book, and they will normally grant you permission. But you need to keep that in writing. So just in case your examiner asks you, do you have, permission to photocopy this? And there you have the permission given to you. So be very careful about copywriting. Don't just, copy everything and put it in your thesis or put it in your publication. Duplicate publication. What is duplicate publication? Yeah, you have your publication already published out in a journal. You take it back, you change a bit, and then you submit, to another journal. All right. So that is what we call duplicate publication, and that is a big no. Okay. Simultaneous submission. Again, here, students are not aware of this. Sometimes they have one article and they submit to 2-3 journals. They submit to journal A, journal B, journal C. Now, this is a big no. You submit to journal A first until you receive your love letter, your rejection letter. Then you submit to journal B. Yeah, and if journal B rejects you, then only you submit to journal C. So you don't submit your journal to you don't submit your manuscript to 3 journals, 2 or 3 journals at one go. Yeah, so simultaneous submission is a big no. Fraud and forgery, you don't cook up your data. You say you have interviewed 100, it's 100. And then when I read your thesis or what, you say 150. So I don't know where you got the 50 from. So you actually cook up your data. Yeah. So acknowledgement, very important. I put acknowledgement next to authorship. Those people you think have indirectly helped you in your research or in your manuscript, and if they don't deserve to be an author, you acknowledge them, very important. But if you acknowledge them, you must always ask permission, that you will be acknowledging them in the, because you do not want to offend them, all right? Wrong credentials, very important. You are merely a PhD candidate, but in the publication, after your name, you put PhD. Hello, you're a PhD candidate, okay? You have not graduated yet. So this is wrong credential you are using after your name, all right? So be very careful of all these publication ethics. Okay, now what constitutes an author? Very important. Yeah. Now, if you call yourself an author, you must contribute to the design of the study, the conceptualization of your research idea. You must do a bit of analysis, and you help in the interpretation of data. And the word here is and, drafting of the article, or critically revising for important intellectual content, and final approval of the version to be submitted. You must approve the manuscript to be submitted for publication. If you don't approve it, then don't put your name on the paper. Withdraw yourself from the paper, because sometimes you think that there's something wrong with the paper, you don't agree with the co-author, so it's best for you to remove yourself as an author, yeah, because you don't approve what is written in the paper. Anything that you put in the paper, the author has to be responsible for whatever is written there. Okay, very important. And acquisition of funding, collection of data, general supervision of research group by themselves do not justify authorship. Right? Now, this is an authorship. Now, very often, yeah, I'm a journal editor. Institution should, should prevent guest, gift, or ghost authorship. What are these authorship? What is a guest authorship? Those who do not know, just now I give you all the 4 criteria of authorship. Yeah. So if they do not meet those accepted authorship criteria but are listed because of their seniority, reputation, or supposed influence. I'm sure you have clearly heard, right, that perhaps, in an institution, the dean of the faculty says, or the head of department says, hey guys, no paper gets up from my department without my name in, because I'm the head of department. Now, that is a guest authorship. There is clearly an abuse of power, all right? Now, what's a gift author? Those who do not meet accepted authorship criteria but are listed as a personal favor or in return for a payment, yeah? So that is a gift author. Or a ghost author, somebody who writes a paper for you, you pay them, but their names are not inside the paper, okay? So all these are big no-no if you're writing your paper, yeah? Be very careful about guest author, be careful about gift author, ghost author. Like sometimes, your husband and wife, your husband is working in the engineering department and the wife is working in the arts. So when the wife publishes, the husband's name is in. So, or the husband's published a paper, the wife's name is in. Then you will see what's the link between the arts and the engineering, all right? So this is what we call a gift authorship. So all these are a big no-no. So these are some of the authorship issues. I just let you read this. Okay, I'm sure, my time is almost up. I'm sure you're very well aware of this. I'm sure there are more other issues as well. All these authorship issues is always an issue in any university, okay? You will constantly get complaints about all these things, yeah? So plagiarism, I think I've talked about it, yeah? There's software that checks your plagiarism, how many % similarity in text, yeah? There are some that are free, so you can use those free to check your thesis before you send it out for. Now, plagiarism is it's a crime, yeah? It's very serious. The minute you're caught for plagiarism in your university, I don't know about your university, in my university, you will fail immediately, all right? You will be told to pack up and go back home. Now, self-plagiarism, you're citing your own thing, yeah? You publish something, yeah? You take something out from that published article and put it in another publication, all right? So again, this is a big no-no. So publication, verbatim copying, very important. Now, plagiarism is a theft of intellectual property. Yeah, things is not yours. Yeah, give credit to where it's due. Put a citation there. Yeah, where you refer, where the reference is. Yeah, so sometimes when we are told to review an article, we are invited as reviewer. So sometimes you may take, the manuscript work. Postgraduate students, research. So all these are a big no-no. Yeah. So you represent the work of others accurately in citation and quotation. Make sure you put a reference, very important. Yeah, so you should not copy reference from other publication if you have not read the cited work. Very important, try to read all the articles that you put in your thesis. Just in case your examiner pick on one reference and ask you about it, and you don't know anything about it.
Right. So nice.
Okay, this is my last slide. Have a look at this, I want all of you to read this and tell me where are the scientific misconduct here.
Mute yourself, participants. Host, please mute the participants.
Mute, coach. Please mute.
Okay, read this whole thing, and can anybody tell me where is the scientific misconduct? Anyone? Najuya, you need to read out for me. Where is the scientific misconduct here? There are so many. Yeah, plagiarism. Someone said plagiarism. Chumaria, you mentioned plagiarism. Where is plagiarism? Can you tell me? Can you read out the sentence? All right, just tell me where is it. Okay, I think it should be this, right? Anna drafted her manuscript in a haste, and verbatim some of the text from other publication to be included in a manuscript. Yeah, so that's plagiarism. What else?
Without acknowledging, yes. And she did not include, she omitted the negative findings.
Only one? Yeah.
No, ma'am.
So this is Anna chose to include only findings with a positive, is it? Impactful and interesting, and omitted the negative findings. Now, this is what we call preferential citing. He purposely chose studies, that are positive, but all the negative, not significant findings, studies, he threw it out. So this is what we call preferential citing. Okay, what else? The reputable author. Yeah. So who is this? Right. She was asked by her supervisor to include the name of a reputable and highly regarded professor who recently visited their department as co-author of the manuscript. So clearly this professor has not done anything, right, in terms of the research, in terms of drafting the paper, but she was asked to put the professor's name. Okay, so this is called a gift authorship. What else?
She submitted 2 manuscripts to 2 journals.
Right. Okay, the last one is she submitted to 2 journals simultaneously for consideration. This is what we call simultaneous publication, and it's a big no-no in publication. You submit to one journal, you wait for your love letter, your rejection letter to come, and then you submit to another journal, all right? So you don't submit your article or your manuscript to so many journals at one time. So I'm glad you all are aware, and these now you know what are the scientific misconduct, so that when you write your paper for publication or your thesis or your dissertation, make sure you don't have all these things, yeah? Be very mindful of all these scientific misconduct, okay? So my conclusion slide will be this, very important, the code of ethics, the 3 fundamental principles of human research: respect for person, beneficence, and justice. As a researcher, you have to be responsible to your participants. You do need to protect them, very important, yeah? And there's a great need for researchers to regularly reflect on their work, to develop your own understanding of ethical implications of your research. Very important. When you're doing research, think of all the ethics that might be involved in your study that might harm your participants. Very important, yeah? Be mindful of that. And you need to continuously aware of how research can impact participants and respect, them at all times, yeah? So the guiding principle is best interest of the participants. That's the best interest for your research. Okay. So last but not the least, this is my most favorite journal. Right, so that's a journal that I represent, the Asia Pacific Journal of Public Health. Yeah, this journal is in text both in STOPPOS and ISI, WOS. So I see in this audience itself, if those of you who are in the field of public health, you're more than welcome to submit articles to my journal. But most important of all, do cite papers that are published in this journal. I think for obvious reason, you know it very well. This journal belongs to people in Asia Pacific. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to all of us. And this is where I need your support to support this journal. With that, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a wonderful presentation, and we appreciate you showing the presentation on your journal as well. And I hope, and I'm sure that many of our participants will send their journals, their articles to your esteemed journals, and wish you all the best with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much for enlightening us on the young researchers on the ethical consideration which has to be kept in mind while doing research. And there have been, people have really appreciated you with your presentation and with the way you have explained in details. So I would just say there has been one important question, two questions rather. The first one is a very basic. It's the question is that what is the best site to check to do the plagiarism check? Is it so? Could you recommend some websites or some
website? It's a software that there's a free software, and there's one that you can actually buy. I think in most university they will buy the Turnitin. It's called the Turnitin. Yeah, but the one it's normally you will get a university to buy that, and like for us we get a university to buy it. It's a license copy, and then all our postgraduate students, the masters and the PhD students, their thesis has to be run through this Turnitin test before they submit the thesis for examination. Yeah.
The second question is for Dr. The question was mentioned that during experimental research, where you do not, the control group is usually there is no variable given to the control group. It's kept unchanged. So when you're considering the ethical issues in the experimental research, how can you insert another extra variable in the control group? I mean, is it possible?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you do any experiment, any intervention, there's an intervention group and there's a control group. So ethically, during the experiment itself, you don't give anything to the control group. You're not introducing any variable in the control group. But what you can say ethically is after the intervention, after the whole experiment, you give the same intervention that you gave to the experiment to the control group. That is after your whole study. Not during the study when you're controlling them, right?
Has got his answer. So I would request our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Gangopadhyay, to say a few words.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. And the first thanks should go to you because you responded so spontaneously to our call. Shumon is not here, I think. Is Shumon here? Otherwise, we'd have loved.
I'm here.
Okay, Shumon. So, yes. So, Shumon, please say a few words to ma'am. It is through you that we could connect to ma'am. So, we are immensely thankful to you and extremely grateful to ma'am because she immediately responded to our invitation. Shumon, say a few words.
Yes, first of all, I am very much thankful to Professor Roy Low. Actually, he's one of the best persons to tell about the ethics in research and what the research is going on in Asia, Pacific, and throughout the world. So when Mitalidi asked me that, is there any person who are capable to deliver the research, the findings, or what the research is going on? So I just keep in mind that Professor Lowe is the best person for that. So that's why I like to tell you that thanks for accepting our invitation for our college, and Professor Lowe, Professor Wayu Lowe, and actually I'm a little bit of distracted because my father died 19th July. So that's why I'm a little bit of distracted now. Even though it is my pleasure to listen to your lecture, I think it is one of the best lecture I ever heard from this kind of ethics in research. We are doing these things in our field, ignoring the fact of the ethical issues most of the times. So the people who are doing the work, specifically the social science perspectives, public health perspectives, they should keep in their mind regarding the ethical committees and ethical clearance and what they are doing in the field. So Professor Warren Lowe nicely present all the things, and it is our pleasure to see in our program, and I hope that in the future we will again invite Professor Warren Lowe for his wonderful disseminating the knowledge. And I know Professor Warren Lowe very well, and she is one of the legend in public health domain, and one of the important person in the world research. I frankly say the world research, and this is a wonderful occasion for our institute, and specifically this is a historical moment for us. So thanks a lot, Warren Lowe, and Onuja did a great job. She explained very well the what kind of the work she has done, and Mitalidi and Professor Dilip Kumar Mondol, one of the another coordinator of this program. I congratulate both of them that we can do it. We can do it, and we can do it such kind of program by involving such an eminent person from the different parts of the world. So that's for my end, and thanks, Mitalidi.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Suman. Thank you.
I just bear my head just because my father.
Shake your head, shake your head. Yes, he's actually going through difficult times, and the fact that he could still make some time for the platform and be here, I think is really to be appreciated. Thank you so much, Sean. We're all with you. Yes.
Continue, please.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Ma'am, I can see that the chat box is flooded with questions. So, and I can see you answering some of them also. But if you want, we can share, share your email ID with the participants, so that if they have any question, they can directly, contact you, communicate with you. That is one. And number two, I can see many.
I have actually given my slides to Dr. Dilip, so he can send the slides to them. And in my front page, my email is there. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a million, ma'am. Thanks a million. And we do hope that we have you here again. Next time, without COVID-19, physically, we would like to see you here in India, in Kolkata, in our college. So the invitation is always there from our side, ma'am, and we would be really very happy if you can sometime make it to our college. Thank you very much.
Right. Thanks to you all. Okay, bye now. Yes.
Thank you. Bye. Yes, Anuja. So is the next speaker here already?
Yes, so is here, Dr. Shailash Kaushal.
Before we go to the next speaker, may I just say a few words, Anuja? Is there enough time that I can say? Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. This is for all the participants. Dear participants, you know that we have on the last day, that is 31st of July, a small program, which is a cultural event. From our side, from the organizer's side, we will have maybe 1 or 2 items that we would like to present to you, maybe a song or two. But this is mainly to, as I have already said, to strengthen the bond between you and us. And in order to do so, I would request you, if you are culturally inclined, if you feel that you want to show your talents to everybody, I would kindly request you to, you can do a video of your talents, which might be the form of a song. It might be a recitation. It might be just playing an instrument. And please send that video to us over WhatsApp. Dilip Babu will give you the number. He will write on the chat box the number of where you would post your video, so that on the last day we can play your video here. So let it be a very engaging cultural program, engaging in the sense, not really one-sided program, which it is right now, because you have the lecturers, the esteemed speakers coming and delivering their lectures. But there in the cultural event, we would like all of us to be together and kind of, yes, the number is already there from Dr. Dilip Kumar Mondal. So please see to it that you send whatever you want, maybe 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute video clips. I think video is preferable than an audio clip, because we would also like to see you. So a video clip which may have a dance or a song or a recitation, or maybe some kind of playing an instrument, whichever you think you excel in. So please do that. We are waiting for it. And I think since today is already 29, we would request you to do it by 30th tomorrow. Yes? Dilip Babu, is that fine? By 30th, if we get it? Yes, yes. So by 30th, 5 p.m., please do send us. We will be waiting for your posts, video posts, and then we will be too glad to play it on the 31st, around 8:30, our cultural event begins. So thank you, dear participants. I hope you're enjoying all the lectures. And over to Anuja.
So before we begin the next session, I would just request the participants to complete themselves and just keep in mind the flow that the lecture is on, and when participant or the resource person is delivering the lecture. So without further delay, I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Shailesh Kaushal. He is an assistant professor at the Department of Business Administration, University of Lucknow. Welcome, sir. He has published, thank you, sir. He has published more than 60 research papers in various journals. His areas of specialization are marketing management, statistics, research methodology, and operations research. He has acquired proficiency in statistical software like SPSS, AMOS, Process Macro, eViews, etc. And he has also uploaded many of his lectures on YouTube. So if you're interested, you can also check that out. His topic for today's discussion will be SPSS, T-test, Sky test, and median test. Over to you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I'm starting.
Yes, you can.
Oh, yes. Good evening to all. Today I'm going to explain some tests like one sample t-test, independent t-test, pair t-test, or median test, and chi-square test. So before starting my topic, that is relating to statistical tools, so I would like to tell you, so we once we get data from the field, then after getting data into the SPSS sheet, we have large number of statistical tools and techniques to analyze our data. So basically there are three types of statistical tools and technique. One is univariate technique, bivariate technique, and multivariate technique. Now question is this: after collecting data and we have data into the SPSS sheet, then how to use particular statistical tool and technique? What are the conditions when we should use or apply particular statistical tool and technique? Because we have large number of statistical tools and technique such as independent t-test, pair t-test, analysis of variance and analysis of covariance, repeated measures ANOVA, and on the other hand, non-parametric test, Mann-Whitney test, Kruskal-Wallis test, Friedman ANOVA, and Wilcoxon rank sign test, chi-square test, bivariate analysis, multiple regression analysis, factor analysis, cluster analysis, conjoint analysis, and structural equation modeling. So we have large number of statistical tools and technique. Now, question is, in particular condition, what type of test we should use? So when we collect our data, so before applying any statistical tool and technique, we should check our data. Basically, there are two types of data. One data is metric data, and second is metric and non-metric data. So before applying this particular data, the metric and non-metric data, we should check whether the particular dependent variable in a continuous variable or non-continuous. So there are two things we have to keep in mind when we use particular statistical tools and technique. So one is type of data. What type? There are four type of scale. One is nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scale. Nominal and interval scale, nominal and ordinal scale, known as non-metric data or categorical data. And second, interval or ratio scale data, it is known as continuous data or continuous or metric data. So basically, there are two types of data. One is metric and non-metric, or we can say categorical or continuous data. And so basically, two types of data. So now question is ki what type of statistical tool and technique we should use. So we have to see whether our particular sir, can you see me? Can you see my slides? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes,
am I audible?
visible also. The PDF is visible.
Can you listen? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So okay. So before analyzing this statistical tool and technique, I am repeating, before applying any statistical tool and technique, we should check whether our variables are in metric form or non-metric form. Is it clear? Now, for example, we want to apply multiple regression analysis. For example, we want to apply multiple regression analysis. In this case, multiple regression analysis, one dependent variable and several independent variables. So means कि dependent and independent variables should be in metric form. Metric form. So all the variables should be in metric form. Then we can apply only multiple regression analysis. For example, we want to apply analysis of variance ANOVA. Now, dependent variable should be ratio or interval scale, means it should be metric, and independent variable should be categorical variable, more than two levels. Is it clear? Now, so I'm taking example. One is one sample t-test, and after that, so today I will discuss 5 tests. One sample t-test, second independent sample t-test, third pair t-test, fourth median test, and fifth chi-square test. So I am just going through this some slides, and then I will explain each and everything through SPSS, how to calculate in a SPSS. So one sample t-test means when we have only one variable, then and one variable that is it should be a ratio or interval scale data, means our data should be metric or continuous data. Then we can use one sample t-test. So one sample t-test, I am taking example of tire. The Apollo Tires has launched a new brand tires, and the company claims that the tire will run 40,000 kilometer. It means कि we want here our population mean that is 40,000 kilometer, and we want to check whether the claim is right or wrong. So we selected 8 observation. First tire life is 35,000, second 38,000, 42,000 for then 41,000. These are our sample. We have collected 8 sample size of 8 tires. Now how will we check? There are two hypotheses. One is null hypothesis and second alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis means there is no significant difference between the population mean and sample mean. But on the other hand, alternate hypothesis means it is not equal to population mean. Now this is our formula, and we set confidence level 95% level, then collect the data. So this is our observations 35,000, 38,000, and the sample mean 39,750, and deviation from the sample mean are minus 4,750 and all these. Now through formula we will put all the values in this particular formula, and the sample mean we obtained that is 39,750, and population mean 40,000. Now we want to check whether this sample mean significantly different from this population mean. Now we will find the value, t value, that is calculated value, and then compare with the table, means degree of freedom, and we will find critical value, that is critical value. So this is our basically whether this is accepted or not. So this null hypothesis is accepted. It means there is no significant difference between the sample mean and population mean. It means one sample t-test we can apply when we want to check the significant difference between the sample mean and population mean. Now question is how to perform this into this SPSS site. So this is my now we can, I am sharing my SPSS sheet. Okay, now SPSS sheet, this is my SPSS sheet. I think you can, this is it visible?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. So now these are our entries. So these are first live 35,000, 38,000 kilometer, and these are our 8 observations. Now how to analyze in a SPSS? So first of all we will click analyze, and then compare means and one sample t-test. Is it clear? Now one sample t-test. Now number of tires and life of tires in kilometer, and then options, nothing to do this, continue, and okay. This is our result. This is our result. T value is 48. Can you see this particular value output? Can you see this output?
Yes, the one sample test is the output.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So one sample statistics. Now the number of observation 8 and mean value 39,750. Can you see it? Okay. Yes. So this is our t value. T value that is 42.935, and mean difference is this, and p value that is p value that is 0, less than zero point 0. So this particular p value tell us if p value less than 0.05. If p value less than 0.05, it means null hypothesis accepted and alternate hypothesis rejected. It means there is no significant difference between the population mean and sample mean. Clear?
So
Now,
I would like to intervene. Like since you're explaining this, so rather than asking you the questions at the end, there's this participant who wants to know. Can you just because there are many students from basic humanities stream, so if you can explain what is sample test and population mean and sample mean initially, and then you can just go slow for the participants, please.
okay.
And one sample t-test. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you see this output? Can you see output?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. Now, I'm taking another example. Okay. Okay, this particular case study tell us about the sample of 8 tires. It means a retailer wants to test that whether tires life will be 40,000 kilometer or not. He is claiming that his company tire will run 40,000 kilometer. Is it clear? Now, he is claiming that his company tire will run 40,000 kilometer. Now, how to check his claim? He took sample. Sample means a small part of the population. He selected 8 tires. First tire life is 35,000, second 38,000. This is our sample. And population means all the tires. When we average all the life of all the tires, then it becomes population mean. And sample mean means it's a small part of population. Now, what will we do here? There are 2 hypotheses. One is null hypothesis and second is alternate hypothesis. This is population mean. For example, in a particular class, 100 students, and we want to know the mean marks of students. So, if I add all students' marks and take mean, then it will be population mean. But instead of taking 100 students, if I select only 10 students and take 10 students marks and adding all 10 students marks and divided by 10, then it is known as sample mean. So it is population means we have large number of tires. It is the population mean, and sample means mean means we have selected only the small part of our population, like 8 tires. Then that is the observation of 8 tires are first is 35,000, 38,000. These are our sample mean. If we add all the life of tires, then sample mean would be 39,750. Now we want to compare whether this particular sample mean is statistically different from the population mean. So if it is statistically different, it means his claim was wrong. If it is not statistically significant different from population mean, it means he is claiming right. This is the idea about the sample and population mean. Now we have tested through this particular formula and p value is this. Now we found that it is not, because our null hypothesis accepted, it means he is claiming right. It means the tire will run 40,000 kilometers. Now second type is two sample t-test. It is independent sample t-test. Now we should understand in which particular condition we should apply independent t-test. For example, if we want to compare two groups, then we should use independent t-test. So independent t-test means कि we are comparing two groups. For example, we want to check whether the awareness level of primary students is significantly different from urban to rural. So what will we do? We will take 100 students from rural area and 100 students from urban area, and we want to check the difference, whether awareness level is significantly different from the two group or not. Is it clear? So same study, same concept we can use if we want to categorize two group. One is control group and second is experimental group. If we want to compare two means, one is control group mean and second is experimental group mean. What means कि, for example, we want to compare कि whether the online teaching is effective or not. There are two groups. One is offline teaching and second is online teaching, and we want to see whether the perceiving through whether perception of a student same or different. So what will we do? We have selected two sample. One sample related to offline teaching, 100 students we are teaching through offline, and second 100 students from the online teaching. And then we will ask question whether, so I can ask question and we can say that you have to give 10 you have to give marks out of 10. Is it clear? So every student give their marks and we will take mean all students relating to online teaching and 100 students relating to offline, and then we will compare, and then we can say that whether in a null hypothesis we can say there is no significant difference between online teaching and offline teaching. Is it clear? Now alternate hypothesis means there is a significant difference between the online or offline teaching. So we will take mean value of one group that is relating to online teaching and mean value of perception mean value of offline teaching, and then we will compare whether the group will be so whether the particular difference is okay or not. Is it clear? Now here I am taking the so we should understand the concept of independent t-test. We can apply independent t-test where we want to compare two groups. One maybe control group, second experimental group, one male and second female, one rural, second urban, public sector, private sector. When we compare two groups, say in this case we use independent sample t-test. Is it clear? So there would be two variable, one dependent variable and another independent variable. So our dependent variable would be metric form and independent variable will be categorical variable. Means there will be two category. One category for male, second category for female, one category for rural, second category urban. So we can divide our data. So this is our case study. I am taking this case study for independent sample t-test. So this is my data. Can you see this data? Is it visible?
Yes. Yes, sir.
SPSS, can you visible this SPSS data?
Yes, sir. Customers
Okay.
and satisfaction.
First, customer satisfaction. Yes, yes. So we want to satisfy. There are two types of customer. One is company A customer. We have taken 10 customer from company A and 10 customer and 11, 12, about 13 customers from the company B. So we want to compare two groups, means company A customers and company B customers. And we want to check whether the satisfaction level of customer company A and and, and satisfaction level of customer B. Now this is our case study. So we want to apply independent t-test. So how to analyze, and then compare means independent sample t-test. Is it clear? Analyze, compare means and independent sample t-test. This is my rule. Now, customers, there are two types of customer, one relating to company A and second relating to company B. Now, grouping variable, two group, I coded here, I coded again, one for uh, one for company A and B, two for company B. Again, I am repeating, analyze, compare means and independent sample t-test. So customer, that is categorical data, group, define group, group 1, 1 and group 2, 2. Because I have coded company A 1 and company B coded with 2. You can take 0, 1, 2, 3. Is it clear? Now continue, and then satisfaction, that is the ratio scale or metric or continuous data we will transfer into this test variable. So there will be only two variable, that is dependent variable satisfaction and grouping variable, that is categorical variable, independent variable. There will be two categories. When we have to compare two groups, there will be only two variable, one dependent variable and another independent variable. Now, condition of independent variable, that is dependent variable should be metric form, means data should be collected either interval or ratio scale, and independent variable should be non-metric, means data should be nominal scale, means there should be categorical variable. So okay, and after okay we will get the output of this. You can see the output. So output, there are two groups, company A, the customer relating to company A, the satisfaction level of company A customers is mean score, that is 39.5, and for company B satisfaction level score, that is 32.657. Now one thing we should keep in mind, when we compare independent t-test, always we will get different mean. Different mean means this particular mean, company A mean would be different from this mean. But whether this particular mean is significantly different or not, it will tell by p-value. This is our another table, that is independent sample t-test, and p-value, that is 8.582, and significant value, that is p-value. This is p-value, that is 0.00. It means if there is a significant, this difference is significant. It means company A customers more satisfied than company B's customers. Is it clear? Same as we can take example of rural students and urban students. If we want to check the perception level of rural students and urban students. So we can ask one question and tell them you should give answer. So then we will take mean of 100 students of rural and mean of 100 students in a urban, and then we can check the mean whether this particular mean is significantly different from each other or not. So in this case, independent t-test we use. Now another test that is pair t-test. So we should understand the concept of test. Independent t-test we use where we want to compare two groups, two means, and paired t-test we use when we observe same respondent two times. Is it clear? Same respondent two times means before manipulation and after manipulation, or we can say before experiment and after experiment. So there would be two group, same respondent. In the case of pair t-test, the group participants would be same. So we are treating that is pair t-test. So this, can you see this particular slide, pair t-test? Okay, this is the concept of pair t-test. Pair t-test means one is pre-measures before manipulation, before experiment. Here respondent would be same, means we will take two times observation of same respondent, means before treatment, before manipulation and after manipulation. Conditions इसमें क्या हो सकती हैं हमारी, इसमें पेयर टी टेस्ट में हम कर सकते हैं कि देखिए फॉर एग्जांपल, देखिए कंपनी है, मैं इसका आई एम टेकिंग एग्जांपल ऑफ पेयर टी टेस्ट. वी कैन अप्लाई पेयर टी टेस्ट इफ वी वांट टू check the online impact of online teaching on students. We want to check whether online teaching effective or not. So what will we do? How to check this particular phenomena? We will select sample of 50 students. Is it clear? So before online teaching, we will compare. For example, there will be two, online teaching and offline teaching. So through online teaching, we will take marks or score from the student, and offline teaching. So we can compare same respondent two times, means before manipulation, before experiment and after experiment. And same you can understand pair t test. For example, one dietitian claims that we will reduce 10 kg in a 3 months. Is it clear? Now we have selected 10 participants, and initially we measured their weights. First participant weight 70 kg, second participant weight 73 kg, and we have measured the 10 participant weight. And after 3 months, again we will check the weights of 10 participants. Means after experiment, before experiment we will take observations, and after observation we will take observations. Is it clear? Now if weight is reducing, then we can say this particular experiment is working. And who will tell us whether this particular experiment is working or not? P-value. If p-value is less than 0.05, it means if p-value is less than 0.05, it means there is a significant difference. It means they are reducing their weight. Is it clear? Now the example I am explaining through SPSS pair t-test. This is my data, that is before test and after test. The score is this. So there would be same respondent after training. Now question, case study is very simple. One organization wants to change attitude of employee through training. So before training program, attitude of 10 employee was 25, 26, 28, 22, 23. And after training program, the attitude of same employee increased from 25 to 32, 26 to 30, and 28 to 32, 22 to 34. Is it clear? So case study very simple. So before experiment, before training program, the score of attitude of 10 participants was this, and after training program the attitude increased. Is it clear? Now we want to check whether this particular training program impact to change the attitude of employee or not. So here, how to perform pair t-test. First of all, we will go to analyze and then compare means and then paired sample t-test. Is it clear? So the root of analyze, compare means and paired sample t-test. Now we will transfer both the variable. One is before training and after training. Is it clear? Now, okay, we will put okay. So this is our okay. After okay, the result output. This is our output. You can check our output. Before training, the score was 23.8, mean score of 10 participants. And after training, score increased from 23.8 to 29.6. Now, the score before training score was 23.8 and after training score was 29.6. Now we want to check whether this difference is significant or not. Difference. What is the difference? Difference almost minus 5.8. Now we will read last three column, one T, degree of freedom, and T value, significant. So T value, that is minus 4.129 and P value 0.003. It is less than 0.05. It means there is a significant difference. It means the training program increases attitude of employee. We can, if our P value greater than 0.05, it means the training program does not work. But here we can say, because P value is less than 0.05, we can say training program improve the attitude of employee. That is about the pair t-test. So I discussed three tests. I am repeating again. One sample t-test for two sample, one independent sample, and second pair t-test. One sample t-test used only for one data, one observation, one variable. So our variable was life of tire in first case study. So and in the second case, independent t-test, there are two variables, one dependent and second independent. Dependent variable means it is metric or continuous data. Independent variable means categorical or non-metric data. Because before applying any statistical tool and technique, we should have idea of scale. Know what is nominal scale, what is ordinal scale, what is interval scale, what is ratio scale. So we can make our questions only four types. Either we can make our questions nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, or ratio scale. Four types. Okay. Now I am taking the case study of median test. Median test, actually it is, sorry, chi-square test. I am taking this case study of chi-square test. I think, is it visible, chi-square test? Can you see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am taking the case study. The case study of chi-square test can be applied when dependent and independent variable, means both the variables are categorical, means nominal scale variable. Means every test has its assumptions. Chi-square test, what is the assumption of chi-square test? That both the variable should be categorical. Categorical means mutually exclusive, like male, female, pass, fail, rural, urban. It is categorical variable. In our case study, can animals be trained to line dance with different rewards? Participants 200 cats. We have selected 200 cats and given training to them. The training. So there are we are giving training to cats whether they will dance or not. Is it clear? So reward, as a reward we are giving two types of food. Food, one is food. There are two types food. There are two incentive. One is food and second is affection. Is it clear? There are two types of incentive. For one group we are giving food to the cats. For another cats, we are giving affection. Is it clear? Now, we are giving food to the cats and instructing them you should dance. So there are two options. Cat may be dance or do not dance. Is it clear? Same as we are giving affection to the cats. Again, after affection, cat has choice whether she dance or do not dance. Is it clear? So there are two variable, one dependent and second independent variable. So reward, that is again divided into two, food versus incentive. Second is dance or do not dance. So there are two types of data. Now I am taking the case study of the chi-square test. Is it clear? Now this is my data. There are 200 cats. So 200 cats. So you can see the data of 200 cats. Food as a reward. We are giving food as a reward and cat is dancing. We are giving affection as a reward. Cats are dancing. Is it clear? So there are two things. One is when we are giving food as a reward, cats are dancing. Again, we are giving food as a reward, but some cats are not dancing. It means when we give food as a reward to the cats, there are two options. First is cats may dance and second may not dance. Same as reward. Affection as a reward. When we are giving affection to the cat, again there are two possibilities. Cats may dance or cats may not dance. ये देखिए, some cats are not dancing. Is it clear? So there are 200 about 200 observations. So how to perform chi-square test? So before applying chi-square test, we should keep in mind both the variable should be mutually exclusive. It means nominal scale. Means our variable should be categorical. Yes, no. Is it clear? Rural, urban, liked, disliked. Options should be mutually exclusive. In our case, dance and do not dance. Reward, food and affection. So food and affection, it is mutually exclusive, two categories. Food and another affection. Then dance and do not dance. So again, it is mutually exclusive. So when we apply chi-square test, both the variable should be categorical. And how to perform it? Analyze and then non-parametric test and chi-square test. This is how to perform chi-square test, analyze, non-parametric test legacy dialogues, chi-square, and then we will transfer both the variable, type of training and dance. Is it clear? Now, okay, we will do okay. Click okay, and we will get the output. Where is the output? Or another, this is our output. Another way, is it clear? Now, another way we can do through this descriptive statistics, and if we want to take cross tabs, contingency table. Through this method, we can get cross tables. Again, analyze descriptive statistics and cross tabs. Now, training and columns, row and column. One variable in a row and second column. Any variable you can transfer in a row or column. Is it clear? Then we click exact, nothing to do, statistics. We will tick chi-square and then continue. And then cells, observed frequencies and expected frequencies. And then continue. And finally, okay. We will get this particular table. This is our contingency table. So I am explaining this table. So food as a reward, one variable, and another option, that is another category, affection. Food and affection. And dance, yes or no. So we are giving food 38 cats out of 200. Is it clear? We are giving food as a reward to the 38 cats, and out of the 38 cats, 28 cats dance and 10 cats did not dance. Is it clear? So, and second, affection as a reward. We have given affection 162 cats. Out of 162, 48 cats dance and 114 did not dance. Is it clear? It means the maximum cats are not dancing when we are giving affection as a reward. But in case food, maximum cats are dancing when we are giving food as a reward. So we can take it percentage also this. So how to get another table? I want to take this table into percentage form also. One, analyze descriptive statistics and cross. So cells here, row, you can see percentages, row percentages. Is it clear? Now I have ticked. If we want percentage, then we can take row and then okay. So again, yeah, we can take 38. Again, we can interpret this table type of training, food and affection. It means that we are giving food to the 38 cats. Out of 38, 73.7% cats are dancing and 26.3% cats are not dancing. Another case, when we are giving affection to the cats, one out of 162, 48 cats are dancing. It means only 29.6 cats are dancing and 70.4% cats are not dancing. Now we want to check whether food as a reward working or affection, which reward is more important to the animal. So here we can see what is the p-value. P-value is Pearson chi-square, that is p-value 0.00. It means less than 0.05. We can say that food as a reward more important to the animals in comparison to affection. because when we are giving food to the cat, 73.7% cats are dancing, and when we are giving affection, only 29.6% cats are dancing. Interpretation, how to interpret it? It means we can say food as a reward better than the affection. Is it clear? Now another case study that is relating to median. Median again, it is non-parametric test, median test. Now, median through this particular case study, researcher wants to know whether the satisfaction level of male faculty members in private sector is equal to the satisfaction level male. Is it clear? So in a private sector, male faculty members and female faculty members are working. Now we want to check whether male faculty members are satisfied or female teachers. So we want to compare. It is same as this case study, same as independent t-test. If we can use another test uh, for comparing the two groups, men Whitney U test. But here we can test median test also. So analyze, again it is median test, non-parametric, independent samples. Then we will transfer both the variables. We will satisfaction of employee and then groups, and then run. So we will get the output. This is our output is independent sample. देखिए, sorry, median test. This is our output. It is coming. It is taking time to appear. Now this is our results of independent median test. Is it clear? So in this the distribution of
repeat the test, sir. If we can, yes.
So this is our result of null hypothesis. It means p-value that is p-value that is less than 0.00. It means there is a significant difference between the satisfaction level of male and female level in the private sectors. Okay, so this is all about the test. So it's so okay. So today I have discussed, because if we want to learn this statistical tools and technique, because it takes more time to learn, because we have large number of statistical tools and technique. So if anybody need any slides, PPT or books, e-books or so they can contact me. I'm giving my mobile number. They can WhatsApp me their problem, and they can write me on email. So I can provide them soft copy of many books like Discovering of Statistics through SPSS ND Field book, and another Research Design of Creswell. So I have many books. If you want, if students or participants need some how to perform particular statistical tool and technique, they can do this. And as well as I have uploaded about 115 lecture videos on YouTube. You just type YouTube Dr. Shailesh Kaushal, my channel will appear, and I have uploaded some lecture videos on SPSS, some process macro, structure MOS software, Smart PLS, and R software. So almost I have uploaded univariate technique, bivariate technique, multivariate technique, means independent t-test, paired t-test, ANOVA, repeated measures ANOVA, exploratory factor analysis, cluster factor analysis, conjoint analysis. ये जो all techniques I have uploaded to the my channel. You can you just type Dr. Shailesh Kaushal and you will get the my videos, and I have uploaded file, SPSS file, whatever file I have used in my videos. You can download my file and you can practice do this. Yes, madam.
Thank you, sir. So then,
Time is very less.
yes, sir.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to say explain everything in detail, but you have tried your best. You have done your best, sir. Like for people like us who are absolutely have no skills in statistics, you have explained the procedure very well. So I'll just take some few basic questions. This is by Galki Chatterjee, the last question that she says that so when do they use paired t-test?
Paired t-test. Okay. Okay. For example, we want to there are one in a paired t-test, respondents would be same. It means if we want to check the experiment, particular experiment, for example, in a classroom, is it clear? So in a classroom, 100 students, one before LCD projector, we want to check the impact of LCD projector on online of students कि क्या ऑनलाइन ये क्या LCD प्रोजेक्टर के थ्रू ज्यादा स्टूडेंट समझ सकते हैं. So before this particular technique, we can take observation of students, and after this experiment again, whether they learn more or not, we can take the observation. It means paired t-test can be applied only when we want to check impact of particular phenomena to the same group. So before treatment we take observation, and after experiment we take observation. But independent sample t-test, we divide our sample into two groups, two mutually exclusive. One is rural, urban, and private sector, public sector, male, female. But in case of paired t-test, respondent would be same. We will take two observation. One is before treatment and second is after treatment.
I'll take one more question, which is please explain when do they use the median test? The question of median test.
Okay. Basically, there are two types of test. One is parametric test and second is non-parametric test. Basically, parametric test had some assumptions. There are four assumptions of parametric test. One is data should be normally distributed. It means we will find the normality of the data. There are three methods to find the normality: through histogram or graph. We can check the normality of the data. Well, through skewness and kurtosis, we can check the normality of the data. And third is through KS test. Through KS test, we can check the normality of the data. When we apply parametric test, we should check for assumption. One is data should be normally distributed. Second assumption, data should be homogeneous. Third assumption, data should be either interval or ratio scale. And fourth is data should be independent to each other. So basically, there are two main assumptions of parametric test. One is normal, data should be normally distributed, and data should be homogeneous. Normality we can check through case test, and homogeneity we can check through leaven test. If our data does not normal, if our data does not homogeneous, then we use equivalent to parametric test, that is known as non-parametric test. So median test we can apply when our assumptions of parametric tests are not fulfilled. Yes.
Thank you, sir. And sir, if you could suggest some of the basic books to the participants who would like to go through and know more about the statistical.
For beginners, I am referring some book. One is Marketing Research and Orientation by N.K. Malhotra. That is a good book. Second, that is Discovering of Statistics through SPSS by N.D. Field, Sage Publication. And third, Applied Statistics, Warner M. Rebecca. Again, it is a very basic book. Sage Publications se hai. And fourth book, that is multivariate data analysis. Multivariate data analysis by A.R. Anderson. So I have soft copy of all books. If anyone required, they can WhatsApp me their email ID. I can share these books. And one book very important, that is research design by Creswell. Creswell, it is research design. This book very useful to understand the concept of qualitative research, quantitative research, mixed research, how to create hypothesis, research problem, statement of the problem. So we can understand through this book. But for statistics purpose, one is Warner, Rebecca M. Warner, and second Andy Field. Both books are very excellent and good.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope the participants have got a good feedback about, and they can look up the books also that you have just suggested to them. Yes, and I would like, Mitali, are you there? Dr. Gangopadhyay, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Kaushal. It was a privilege listening to you, sir. And I would like to thank you because you have shared your mobile number as well as your email ID. So participants who are willing to know more can communicate with you directly. Thank you for joining us. Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mandal, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Madam, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anuja, can we move to the next lecture then?
Yes, ma'am. Go to the next lecture.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moshuna.
Is our third speaker online? Is Professor Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay joining? Yes, he's there. All right. So the third speaker, Dr. Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay, is a professor in Library and Information Science, former head of Library and Information Science, Kalyan University. Professor Mukhopadhyay is a recipient of Best Young LIS, that is the Library Information Science Teacher Award. He has more than 100 papers published in journals and conference proceedings, along with 5 books. His recent book is on Immutability and Retrieval, published by UNESCO. He has acted as a metadata consultant for the National Digital Library, hosted by the IIT Kharagpur. At present, he is a member of the Advisory Committee for National Virtual Library Project of Ministry of Culture, Government of India. He is currently running 3 online courses in Swayam platform, and he has developed the e-learning portal for Vidyasagar University 2006. It is an honor to have you, sir. And his topic for today's discussion will also be, sir, are you visible? Have you joined in, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we welcome you, sir. And he will be talking on e-learning. Yes. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your
Sir,
kind words. And I welcome you. Hello.
Are you going to share your screen, sir?
Validity is there. Yes, sir, you are visible.
The screen is visible, sir. I think he's having some network problem. Should he send the screen, the PDF to the host?
So can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Atham?
Can I request the host to sort out the problem?
ওকে, আমি স্যারকে ফোন করছি।
হ্যাঁ, একটু ফোন করুন।
Actually, sir, your number is not reachable. Possible, please call me, sir. Sir, please use the chat box if any problem.
Participants just got to know that it is raining accidents in Kolani. Sir lives in Kolani, so basically that is the reason he's finally to connect with us right now. So give him some time and sort out the matter. So kindly bear with us a bit. Dilip Babu, I would request you to call him up and see if he's receiving your call.
Numbers are not available at this time.
Yes. Is he taking our phone calls?
Hello, are you getting me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Okay, okay. Let me share. Actually, this evening time is basically the worst network connectivity in this part of the world. Now.
It's visible.
Whether you can see my screen or not.
Yes, sir. Your entire skin is
Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is basically the topic is e-learning. I'm getting some noise from your end.
Anuja ma'am, mute ma'am.
Hi. Sir, are you there? Sir?
So the screen is visible.
The shift happened. E-learning actually started at the moment we start using e-books and e-journals, and that actually happened during the first of this the first decade of 21st century, that is during 2002 to 2005. The shift already happened, and four fundamental pillars are basically changing the way academia or researcher or student actually interacting with the all three facets of education, that is teach, learning and evaluation. So what are these four pillars or fundamental facets? These are open and distributed information system, what we colloquially as internet. Then the entire internet is built on the top of open source software and open standard. Possibly presently you are using your Firefox or Google Chrome to access this particular WebEx form. So that both web browsers are open source software. Similarly, most of the servers are running on the top of Linux frameworks. They are using Apache web server. So all whole array of software we are using to build internet and different kind of services are based on open source software and open standard. So these two are actually acting as the building block. Internet as the platform and open source software and open standard ingredient. On the top of these two, we are now getting started getting two beautiful products. This is publishing, another is open learning system, and these are basically inseparable components from each other. Why I am saying? Because moment you are going to start your open education, virtual mode of education, you need lot many resources, and if those resources are not available in the open domain, then it's impossible for the learners to follow it. I'm just giving you one example. In the previous class, teacher who was teaching SPSS has given you a lot many references against a particular questions. But how many of these resources or how many of those resources mentioned by him are actually available in the open access domain? Now, all 5-6 books he referred, actually it is not for a student procure or what to do. So in this way, I tried to mean here that open learning system must be integrated with the open access resources or open access publishing system. Otherwise, the chance of success is very. Now I talked about that paradigm shift already happened. Here you can see a particular slide. So here the blue bar indicates the number of journal introduced in a given year, and maroon actually indicates the number of online journal introduced in a given year. These are all not the entire journal scenario of the universe of knowledge. These are the new journals introduced in a given year. You see here the maroon bar first appeared in the year 1996. That means online journal appeared in 1996 first time. Within 4 years it outnumbered print journals, and you see the result in 2006. I have not given any data after 2006 because this particular trend is continuing. So new online journals introduced around 3,000 and print journal reduced to 2 to 4. So this is the paradigm shift. If you do not know the ball game of the newly changing publishing media and different kind of scholarly communication process, then teaching won't be possible in near future. Now this is all related with journals. So with books. So this is a book, again a future Statista. So it shows, you see, both the revenue and the number of user both will be increasing for e-books. So we already started getting signed for this in library or research institutes, that e-books will be the print book. So here you see the future projection up to 2024. Both users and revenue generated by ebook increase. But as I said, the silver line in the cloud is that if you know how to search, if you know where these are, then 80% of this OA will be available in coming 8 years, and 100% resources will be available in open access channel by 2040. This particular research or projection done by one of the very respectable organization of our field is OCLC, Online Computer and Library Center. It's a US-based agency. You already the WorldCat, the biggest Indian catalog of the world, that is actually run by OCLC. So they actually projected that 47% of the entire resources, either it's a journal article or a chapter or a technical proceeding or a full text thesis, available in different sources. By 2015 it is already available 47%, and by 2040 it will be 100%. But the problem is that these are distributed like anything. If you are not a good searcher, you cannot be a good researcher. You need to know how these are available and how these are possible. So in this particular class session, 1 hour class session, I will be switching to the practical demonstration mode and my slide. So now I am trying to show you some of the glimpses of open access resources and how you can get it, in your mobile without paying anything to anybody. So now I am switching over to the browser mode. Please, Sujan, please, you can see my browser or not?
Yes, sir. Google browser.
Okay, fine. So here you see, in most of the cases, admit it or not, the moment you need some kind of new information, you never go to the library. I also do not go to the library when I need to know something, on something, or I need to start, something unknown about. So here, the Google is our first choice, or first cyber place, the most visited cyber place. And what normally people do, suppose I am searching like a term like environmental pollution. Now Google is very smart. This is called auto suggestion feature. The moment I type ENV, it actually produced all search queries related to environmental. So I am just selecting environmental pollution. Now most of the paper students are searching like this. Now you see Google produce result in there are sets number given below. Each set contains by 20 documents, and if you look into this particular figure, now I am highlighting this one. Here you see that it is basically Google produced 33 crores number of resources related to environmental pollution. Now you type any, or I do admit that environmental pollution is a very common term, is a very common phrase rather. So it produced lot many result. But you try with any other obsolete term or rare term, Google will produce anything not like 2 crores. No. Now I am telling you or showing you that how we can improve this kind of search query, and this will be applied to Google Scholar also. I will be showing you later on. Now suppose I will explain later to see the result what I am doing. Special keyword in Google. I will explain everything. Result. We are presently having 33 crores. Now, happening. Given a special, kind of keyword searching. This is actually Boolean with supported by the special keyword. It produced only 433 results. All are relevant. All are available from India. All are having PDF in as format. Now you see. Let me explain this one. First, when you try to search anything, always include your search page within double inverted quotes. That means you are not searching different terms, environmental or pollution, rather you are instructing Google particular as a bound term or as a phrase. So just double inverted quote. Now I have given all in title. So I actually instructed Google to retrieve only those documents where this particular phrase or environmental pollution appeared in the title of the document. Now I have given with a particular space, I have given file type : PDF. So most of the documents, academic resources available in PDF format. So I again instructed Google to restrict my resources in PDF format. Now you can use any format. I can also use here doc. You see the result. If I use a doc for extension of MS Word file, you see nothing is there. If I file type colon PPT, nothing is there. It's a very rare is there. So 433. Now site colon in indicates that I want to retrieve all resources Indian server. That means domain name which ends with .in. Every country is represented by 2-letter alpha code. This is called ISO 3166 standard. So according to standard, that is actually basis of the DNS domain name system, every country is represented by 2 alpha code. Now suppose I want to know what are the resources available from Pakistan. So site colon code for Pakistan, we have only 24 results. I want to know what is available in Japan. So JP is the result. Nothing is available. So again I am switching to, even I can go for the second level domain, say ac.in. Most of the universities and colleges are available under academic domain, ac.in. Google also handed the second. So now result is 337. So you just need to know all these four techniques. Search Google like a novice user. You are academia, you are a researcher. So you need to be a good. Many I am actually advising here to continue with 4. First you try to indicate your phrase, then give words all in title. Giving inside the double quote must be available in the title. File type colon, then you can use docs, PPT, PPTX, PDF, and then site colon if you are preferring any country. Now suppose you are not getting something or getting very result, you just reduce one filter. Now I reduce the site colon filter. Sometimes it may happen that Google is asking you that you are not a robot because you are doing many advanced. Now the moment I use the site colon special keyword, you see here the result increased to 7420. So same thing I can exercise in Google Scholar also. This your most favorite search engine, that's why I am asking you. Now you see it produced nothing, so I am again reducing or let me check on any kind of spelling mistake or not. All in title. So all in title, I made a spelling mistake. Now file type colon, so I am giving environment file type doc. So all doc file actually retrieved, and these are all scholarly resources from Google Scholar. So this is the thing. Please note down these 4 techniques of searching. Then my next suggestion to the budding researcher members is that right beginning of your career, please try to have an ORCID ID. An ORCID ID. So most of the cases when you write, suppose myself Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay, when I write something, my references goes against Mukhopadhyay, P dot. So P stands for anything. So there are many P Mukhopadhyay. So how a particular search agent or search engine or citation machine can identify myself as Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay. So that comes through the ORCID ID. ORCID ID is a unique ID for the researcher. It's available free of cost. Any one of you can come to this orchid.org and you can register yourself, and that will actually produce one unique ORCID ID. You can utilize that in your writing, different kind of papers and other things. Now Google and Google Scholar, you now know how to search, but again serious academic searches, what is happening that most of the cases you retrieve documents and half of those documents are basically going to the copy, going under copyright. Your library do not subscribe it. Your library cannot subscribe all the journals of the world because of the monetary constraint. So we need to know. Library professionals need to know, and they need to convey this particular information to the academia, that if you know the resources, then most of the cases, 90% chances are there, you can identify the sources from where you can get what you are basically searching. And you please remember, as an academia, the knowledge is of two types. What is the knowledge? You all are subject expert. You know what is the knowledge. But the second factor is the where is the knowledge. If you do not know where is the knowledge, you already that has been proved inside Google searching. If you do not know where is the knowledge and how to extract knowledge, then it will be very difficult in future to survive as a faculty member. So now I am going to tell you a set of few resources, huge number of resources. But I don't forget. I don't forget actually that my topic is e-learning. I need to come back to the e-learning. Here you see few sets of resources. First, by some of the universities of the world. So this is called DOAJ, Open Access Journal, initially developed by Lund University, Switzerland. Here it produced 15,000 journal, lakhs plus articles available free of cost. Journal listed that is called DOAJ. This actually get into inside DOAJ listing. So you can search by article. Please access this resource. 51 open access. This is called the gold path of open access. So seeing their book chapters or journal paper directly in an open access journal. DOAJ is basically a directory of open access journal. But what will happen if some documents you are seeing already published in some commercial journals? How to get access to that? The second path is called the green path. What is green path? Open Door is developed by University of Nottingham, and this is the site address. You search by Open Door, but the spelling of that door stands for Directory of Open Access Repositories. So here you see, you can search all the repositories available in a given domain, and these repositories are basically include the paper published by researchers, scientists, and donated to this repository. And legally it is possible to donate preprint version or the postprint version of the paper to any of the open access archive. So all open access repositories in a given domain. For example, I want to know what are the things available in the domain of education. So what I need to do? You simply click the advanced search button here in Open Door. In the advanced search button, if you scroll down towards the bottom half of the page, you see these are called subject categories, and these they have taken from Library of Congress subject heading list. Education there. Now if I select education and click the search button, all the open access repositories available in the domain of education throughout the world will be listed here. So 139 repositories. Now suppose, imagine on an average all of these resources include 10,000 number of papers on an average. In 10,000 into 239, you see more than you can do your math. How many documents or journal papers will cost? So this is a very important resource. It is called the green path of open access. Now, result, your paper as open access repository so that other people can access your paper cost. There are two reasons. First, you are submitting this open access. Reason is that basically getting a material benefit. What is that material? Online in full text format, the chance of getting citation is higher, and at the end, measure researcher not by the number of paper he or she has written, but the number of citations those actually receive. So here you can come zenedo.org. Now in this zenedo.org, register yourself, basically free, and you can see here the button upload the paper by giving a few metadata, that is title of the paper, authors of the paper, where it got published, and so on. And take it from me, your citations will be increasing rapidly. Now, next is Open Access Thesis and Dissertation. You all know Shodhganga. Shodhganga is the national thesis repository for India. But there are many national thesis repositories throughout the world. For example, US got NDLTD, UK got Ethos, Finland got Finna, Australia got Trove. So how is it possible for you to roam around all these national thesis repositories if you comprehensive search on the thesis available in different corners? Is that do not waste your .org. So OATD.org, if you search here, you can test thesis, including Shodhganga, from the entire world, single search interface, and you can filter. As time is short, I am not showing you live. Very easy. You can have thesis filtered out by master's level, PhD, high language, subject, and many. Altogether 30 million theses available in different levels. And this particular symbol you can see in the development. Open access thesis and dissertation. Now, if you are in e-learning, one of the resource I can tell you, that is OER Commons. OERcommons.org, you can select here your subject domain. Any subject domains are covered. Interestingly, you can select education, what level of education. Select the standard. To give you complete educational package on the keyword you are searching in the subject domain. It's a very interesting, presented by UNESCO and very rich, resource. Next, what I want to tell you that as a
Sir, audio breaking.
developer side, audio break. It's clear now? Hello.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yes. Okay. Happening in webinar. Anyway, so as a interested in e-learning, then there is a good site called Teaching Commons. Teachers across the world came together to form this particular platform. They are sharing with each other the different kind of resources, the different kind of digital learning of development. You can have registered here free of cost. You can take resources. You need here as a teacher, a new age teacher, and the education consortia. So there are national level educational consortium coming. Unfortunately, in India, we still do not have an educational consortium. Is there CCLOR as a IUC, University Consortium, the IUC?
The audio is breaking again.
Hello, sir.
I think his audio has stopped.
It's net.
Can someone call him?
I tried. Please speak up, my call.
Actually started by Aaron Swartz, who actually the pre-runner of the Sci-Hub. Sci-Hub, you all know, it was the brainchild of Aaron Swartz. Later on, Alexander Albeckine took the lead. Org starts any resources available. Similarly, for books, I can tell you another interesting site that is called Hathi Trust. Hathi here stands for memory. They took the term from India, Hathi Trust. So here you can search the book like a catalog or a book, and millions of free of cost here. Download, you can read online, you can borrow. So one is open to library.org. Next is hathitrust.org. Here you can see the site address, hathitrust.org. And finally, if you are a teacher of literature, language, you are dealing with lot many, old editions of the book. Say, for example, one of my scholars actually worked that text variation in different editions of Kopal Kundola. So we are not getting the first edition of Kopal Kundola of India. So we started archive.org, and the very first version of Kopal Kundola available from here. So all kind of old book, rare books, out of print books you can search from here. The site address is archive. Everything available here are open resources. That means you can use it with any kind of constraint. Now, most of the cases we started with a search engine, but I hope that after this, the search engine, what I am going to show you, you won't be coming to Google, where particularly when you are searching some Bielefeld University of Germany, particularly the central library of that university. And suppose I am searching here so I am copying environmental pollution. Base. Now you see, up to this point of time there is no difference between the Google and Base, but after that happens. Now you see, it produced 69,000 plus results. I can restrict my search in title, or by author, or by subject. You can restrict your search in title, but not in author. So you can restrict your search in author and in subject, and you see that this is again a great difference and Base. Now Google, you see the format. Until and unless you click and check, you simply do not nothing about this document. I need to know whether it's a relevant document for my search or not, or for my endeavor or not. So I need to click it, I need to check it. But here you see, as Base is developed by a group of librarians, they know the information demand or need of the users, and here you see the display format. Who is the author, who is the published document type, content provider, and if you come to the next second and you see here how rich is year of publication source. So right from here I can see whether it is open access or not, who are the authors, what is the currency, etc. And if I am satisfied, I can click this and I can have the full text. So this is the advantage of Base, particularly different kind of author or individual author, by sub-areas, by class number, and so on. And if you know that what is the class number of your subject, if you ask your librarian that I am a faculty member of this particular subject, you please tell me here the first third summary of DDC. He or she will happily share with you, and if you know the number, suppose my basic subject is all resources from base on chemistry. So the basic subject of chemistry is 540 class number. So DDC colon 540. Now if I click, you see all resources chemistry I can search, and it actually gave me that 6 lakhs of resources available in the domain. You want to know how many documents are available on the domain of main class of physics is 530. So don't worry, if you search in the DDC third summary or ask your librarian friend that what is the class number for my domain, they can share you. Here in physics we have 4,78,000 documents. So in this way many open access resources are available, and the good thing is that most of the resources, 95% of the resources available in base are available in open access domain. That means you can have, that is not NCO. So internet is basically a restaurant where it is available but not the food stuff. Both the menu card available base as well as the available from different open access channels, repositories, open access journals, and many other things. So now with a little bit of demonstration, we show you some of the modern tools of research, because research is basically starts with an existing piece of information, ends with a new piece of information. Initially, for the first 3 years of your research or your academic activities, you need to depend on information. So you need to know the latest as a researcher. Now suppose, let me show you some of, so this you can see, it's a commercial Science Direct. Now I search arsenic, research time. Now you see here, if you come down to the right side of my screen, button this particular paper, although it is available from show, this particular paper available as green open access. That means available in the open. It actually mentioned, okay, or contradict other academic papers. So try to do a review work. So this particular tool can be very helpful. That is called semantic search. So what these tools, I do not know magic. Just install 2 of the browser plugins in Google Chrome. One is called, the first one is called Untitled. Google then you can have that particular extension. You just click, that will be installed, and that will be installed. And the moment you open up a new any paper, either from commercial domain or many other things, it can tell you whether this paper available in any of the open access repositories or not. So you don't have to go to the search engine even. And semantic citation, it is called S-Site, another browser plugin. You can have it in Google. You can tell me that supported this, how many papers cited it, and if this paper is contradicted, how many papers contradicted it. Very interesting tool when you are doing your literature review. Automatically you are getting these core papers and how many papers supported. I click this particular, can tell me the chronic arsenic toxicity. The text here. Now suppose I don't have time to read the full paper. I want to know only the magnets of the paper very quickly. I don't have time to read many papers. So very quickly I try to identify what are the core papers in my domain. Another excellent tool I can do that. Here you see, the moment I click my tool here, it can automatically tell me. Now you see, it's an AI based tool. It can automatically extract the document in PDF format and can give me summary of the resources. So here you see, I don't need to the paper actually. I actually need to decide whether I am going to read this particular full text paper in full. She can create a highlight for me. So these are, you see, 5. Let me increase the height little bit. 5 magnet it created actually, and this magnet can decide whether this paper is relevant for my research or not. And nowadays, because of the information, you need the tool. This is called research support. These tools are done under the heading of research support library programs. So these source resources you can have free of cost in your help in your doing and many other things. Example. So this is another PDF paper I got from this from Google Scholar. So I opened up the PDF file. I can again call my Scholar C, and you see here again it will go for extracting auto extraction of these resources. This is powered by resources. So possibly because of my network. Anyway, I do hope that you got the essence, and in some cases, Scholar C can also extract number of references. Okay, it is creating some problem. C cannot take decision on behalf of you. Scholar can help you to decide whether this paper is worth reading or not. It will create a few magnets for you. So I have another 20 minutes left. So now I am coming to my presentation.
Sir, before you go ahead, sir, am I audible? Mukhopadhyay, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, you just mentioned that the test is not going through. So one was Scholar C.
This is Scholars.
Yes, and what is the first site that you mentioned?
First one, what I mentioned.
Yes, sir. The name was not clear.
That is Untitled. UNTWALL. Untitled. And the S site, S for site for citation, S site.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So don't worry, these are all will be included in my PPT what I am going to share with you. So don't worry at all. Now, can any one of you tell me that whether you can see my presentation or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I am coming back to the e-learning, the topic. E-learning you cannot separate from open. I do hope because of all this disturbance also, you now got an idea what is happening, what actually revolution happening in communication processes. So now I am coming to e-learning. Now before entering into e-learning, you need to know certain kind of facts and figures related to India. Fortunate enough that today itself national education policy declared by the from the Ministry of HRD. Lot of new changes are coming, but you see the element or the factor consideration for higher. Let me tell you, this is latest All India Higher Education Survey report. We have almost 1,000 universities, 1,000 colleges, and 10,000 plus standalone institutes. These are being both regular universities, dry-mode universities, and open universities. Now we are 1,000 universities in a country is not a matter of joke. But if you consider some of the ailing factors of higher education of India, 3 or 4 I am telling you, on the top of which e-learning is basically becoming very relevant in the context of Indian situation. This is called GER map of India, gross enrollment ratio map of India. Now, ratio, you all know that number of eligible people within the age group of 18, how many of them are actually entering inside your higher education or education. If you closely observe this one, this is highly uneven inside the country. First of all, our national average is 86.3, and within the country this is uneven. If NCR, the GER rate is almost 50. If you come to the southern part of the country, it is all higher than the national average. Highest in Tamil Nadu, 49.0. If you enter western, central and eastern India, including West Bengal, we are national average of ratio. National average is 26.3, and in the entire, western and eastern India, this is actually lag. Some of the northeastern states are doing very well, some are actually doing very bad. If you go to the Jharkhand, it is only 13.6. If you come to again, some part of any other northeastern state, it reaches up to 3.9. So this unevenness gross enrollment ratio. Next is, if we compare our gross enrollment ratio with other Asian countries, say this green, they made a quantum jump. Their gross enrollment ratio now 80 plus. Next, 63. Now China and India started almost neck to neck. Better than China. This saffron line and red line for China. Up to 1994, China made a jump. They reached up to 49.2. We are still struggling with 6-26. So this is the comparative study between the comparable Asian countries. Now, after effect, if we fail to attract talents in our higher education, then what will happen? In the education sector, the success is measured by the number of papers you are publishing, peer review. That is an indirect measurement of education and research in a given country. Now here you see, United States during last 25 years, we got the data from Scopus data. 2019, United States produced 120 million resources. Next from China, almost 60 million resources. India still managed position. We are ninth, in fact. We produced only nearly 16 million papers in these 25 years. So this is a direct effect of enrollment ratio. Another one is the demographic dividend. India will be the youngest country in the let me give you some kind of data. But before that, what is a demographic bonus or demographic dividend? Demographic bonus of the country is said if your working age population is actually higher than the non-working age. So middle of India is 28.1. Actually, I have taken 2018 for a reason. I will be explaining why I have taken 2018 as a so India, the median age is 28.1. Now, if you compare other Asian countries like Japan, they are already old nation, 47.3. China, almost 10 years higher than in median age in the population, 37.4. Germany is the oldest nation in Europe, 47.1. So India will be the youngest nation of the world in the coming 34 years. Years is called demographic bonus for India. Now here you see, this is the demographic bonus period for different Asian and European countries. 1964 ended 2004, so they have enjoyed demographic bonus. China entered 1994, for them it will be ended by 2031. They have got 37 years window. India also got 37 years window, and it started in 2018 and it will be ended by 2055. So during this 37 years of window, India will be the youngest country of the nation and workforce to the global companies and global scenario India will be supplying. But if our human resource is not skilled enough, not trained enough, then they soon will become unemployable. And if they become unemployable, lot many social unrest is actually awaiting for India. Biggest challenge for the country in this 2020 is how to channelize the young force towards different kind of educational channel, how to provide them different kind of skills to survive in the 21st century. And here you see in the bottom part of 1960 to 2018, how our non-working age population, that means people below 13 and higher than 65, and our working age population, people belonging to the age group of 15 to 64 is increasing, and it will be increasing up to 2050. Then again, non-working age share will be increasing. So it's a very important point for in India. But the problem is that our government budget is particular, restructuring or reinforcement of education. You have seen quantum jump in 1994 because they have entered in the demographic bonus period in 1994. But that is still not happening in India. Let us hope that new education policy will take this particular factor into consideration. If you go through this 2014-15 to 2017-18, our total education budget as a percentage of central budget is decreasing sharply from 6.15 to 3.71. Now, if you calculate educational expenditure as percentage of total government expenditure, this is also decreasing from 14-15 to 19-20, 4.14 to 3.40. Educational expenditure as percentage of GDP, it is also decreasing from 0.53 0.45. Now, all on a sudden, today Ministry of HRD declared that government is trying to achieve 6% of GDP. So you see how manifold increase will be happening if this is actually true. 0.52, 0.53 to 6% of GDP. It will be a huge investment by the government, and that is required actually. So altogether, if you go through the higher education scenario, actually marked by low GER, uneven quality, shortage of educators. Our people-teacher ratio is very poor in countries. Unemployed youth, low students progression, another factor. Less number of students are actually going for the PhD level, undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD. Student progression rate is only 0.5% in India. So these are all ailing factors in education, and government of India is thinking e-learning as a solution, and do not think that e-learning came because of this pandemic. Definitely this is working as a catalyst, but not the actual factor of changing face of the higher education. Before entering, we need to know that there are many terms available in the domain. E-learning, everything is e-learning. If you use a PowerPoint slider in your digital classroom or smart classroom, you are doing some kind of e-learning. So e-learning is a kind of generic or umbrella term. But you need to know these three terms: digital learning environment, DLE, virtual learning environment, VLE, and managed learning environment, MELE. So digital learning environment is that when offering your courses in a structured way over the network and supporting interactive nature, then it is called. So interactive, over the network, and structured. This is the three facets of digital learning. Now virtual learning is digital learning and plus different kind of virtual communication tools like asynchronous mode of communication, your email, your blog posting, your discussion forum, asynchronous mode of communication, and synchronous mode of communication like video conference, for saying internet relay chat, different kind of collaborative glossary, chat boxes. These are called synchronous communication tools. So when asynchronous and synchronous communication tools to digital learning, then we will be getting virtual learning. And mostly in India, the software available and the institutes were mostly in the virtual learning environment era. Now in future, managed learning environment will be coming. Now managed learning environment is really plus your own institutional subsystem, like your admission process, like your library system, like your financial management system, like examination system. When all will be integrated with virtual learning, then we will be having managed learning environment. Then in between comes MOOC, massive open online courses. MOOCs are nothing but a massive virtual learning environment. These are not managed learning environment. MOOCs is meant for accommodate huge number of courses and huge number of learners. And blended learning. Blended learning, when you are mixing any one e-learning, digital learning, virtual learning alongside your traditional brick and mortar classroom based teaching, that is called blended. That means you are mixing up your traditional learning alongside with virtual learning or managed learning. So this is all about e-learning sites. Now again, let me show you and the way e-learning is going. Say, let me show you first our activity, so you can have an idea that how to develop this one, and take it from me. Paisa to develop this kind of resources. This is available without any teacher can start a course in Moodle Cloud. Initially, they will be given space and 200 number of learners are 200, quite sufficient for any college or university department. In this particular course, we are running for the final semester student, and these are the courses we are offering. Now, Government of India is that every learning course must be available in 4-quadrant format. Now, what is 4-quadrant? Let me tell you through example what 4-quadrant. This is one of the courses. Let me slightly. Now you see every course must be started objective. Then we are also running a collaborative, identify a set of people in the domain or the sub cover of the paper. Then to define those terms and include another terms. So that is a good exercise to interact with any kind. Then your different kind of announcement service, chat boxes that is meant for the doubt clearing session. Then we are also having big is an online classroom. This Zoom, WebEx or Google Meet, these are not classroom environment. A whiteboard, you cannot write something on board, correct something on board. You cannot, it is not interactive in fact. So big blue online classroom, you can click and you can have you can start your class. Now these are all generic facilities. Now after the generic facilities, now I that every learning activity must be based on 4-quadrant. 4-quadrant. So you just take your syllabus. Then syllabus includes number of papers or courses. If you take a particular course, it includes different kind of units. If you take any kind of unit, it includes many topics. Now each topic of your syllabus must be supported by 4-quadrant or 4 parameter. Quadrant 1 is video tutorial. Quadrant 2 text or slide presentation. Quadrant further reading list on the, and here comes again the importance of open access resources. Most of the cases government is actually suggesting that you try to use open access resources as far as, and quadrant 4 is the evaluation, MCQ based evaluation, short answer type evaluation, different kind of comprehensive video based comprehension, audio based, all are supported. And here the software we are using Moodle If you do not have first see Moodle.com, and in moodlecloud.com now this is you see how this unit is supported by 4 quadrant. So I always asked you the list. These are all available in the topic 1. So I give them text on the topic. If they click, so we will load the text of the topic in an embedded framework. So this is the text on the topic. Now access domain. So you can see here this further reading list. You need to prepare this list in any standard citation format, APA format or IEEE format, and develop your standard citation. So I'm again going back into my. So after this is over, they can go through presentation. So the moment they click presentation, load it in PDF format or any format you use, and they can view it one by one, page by page. They can even download it. Now after that text, that is the quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 is over, I prepare a set of video tutorials. This video tutorial is available from our departmental YouTube channel. Now if my user clicks here, we embed it inside our channel, system. So in this way, I am not using of this Moodle Cloud. I am embedding this video my time system. So user can increase the speed.
Library automation, library automation, and finally we are going into the system.
Now you see they can see the appear different kind of assignment. They can after can based on apply the ACQ based, and only you need to structure this in 4 quadrant mode. Cloud hosting and software is available of cost. Now I show you that how we can integrate this openness inside our e-learning. This is another course we are running here. We have integrated different kind of resources here. So my student do not so it can produce integrate right from the e-learning interface here. So Bash we can integrate, open. So all will be available from here. They don't have to write. And even if your library has got a library automation system, you now suppose after reading this, I want to know what are the documents available on God, and God must appear in title. So I'm at the back end, I am using Koha library automation software, but any library automation software. The moment I click search, do not need to go to the library back. Inside the e-learning system, he can act to the tools. So it can tell me that how many books are available. Now, if I click the God of India, this particular book, the details of the book will be displayed. So this is the book available. And here you see that of the books now available in this channel. this book in full text right from here. So they can have the book, they can check how many copies are available. This is the one copy available, and they click the book reader tab, they can even read the book, and they can browse back. This is the title page. Now read it here, and if they want, you can download also. And believe it or not, we made one particular automated script to check whether this particular book, basically ISBN and title matching, that how many of these books are available, and 80% of the books available in different open access channels, and this system can automate inside your library system, and the entire library system can again be embedded inside e-learning system. So that's all site today. I am stopping presentation. Thank you very much. I know that all is a bit disturbance, but what to do?
No, thank you very much. My sound is getting like my noise. Host, can you please help me? Hello?
Okay. Actually, mute confirm, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir, because you have shown us many of the secrets, I would say, of research using Google, because especially because we would just type a topic which we were searching, and there will be plenty of data on that topic. But you have showed us how to give all in title within inverted commas and then specification. So,
and don't forget those browser extensions, S-Site, Untable, and Scholarship.
Yes, sir. When you were explaining the second, so I have just noticed the first one when all inside which we have to mention. So is there any other way of typing it in Google?
If you see search Google itself, the special keyword, list of special keywords, you will be getting a list of 32 keywords. But not all are quite relevant for academic search. These are meant for different other system related issues. But these four can do miracle for searching, basically. So these four I have selected for you.
So that is what, thank you so much, because this is hand-holding to us. We're not aware of so many of these secrets of searching. And thank you very much. And all the participants have really thanked you. They have thanked you, saying very practical session, very good session. But also we had certain audio disturbances. Never mind, we could get the gist of what you were saying, and even how rapidly you showed all in a very short time. We are really indebted to you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. See you sometime.
See you again. Hopefully we'll see meet again, sir. So with that, dear participants, we come to the end of today's program. You will get your feedback form at the end of the last day, that is day after tomorrow. And in the meantime, you're getting your assignments, and I hope you will complete them within the time given to you, and you will submit them back to the organizers. I would take this opportunity to thank our principal, sir, our organizer, Dr. Dilip Kumar Mondal, along with our IQSC coordinator, the Faculty Development Center, Mizoram University, and Department of Education, Jadavpur University, for getting organized this faculty development program. And on behalf of our participants, as I am a participant myself, I would really like to thank the organizer for bringing such wonderful resource people for the people like us who are really into research. And we are getting enriched as each day progresses. So thanks to all of you. And thanks to the resource persons who have given wonderful, shared their experience and shed light on important topics of research, starting with ethics and then going on to SPSs and finally the e-learning mechanism plagiarism, or how do we use Google? Because we are really heading into a digitalized learning. It's a rapidly changing world. And if Professor Lau is still there, I would really like to thank her, because I could see her asking questions and answering the questions in the chat boxes. So thank you very much, ma'am. So dear participants, we will see you again tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the evening. Stay well. Good night. So any more, sir, Dilip sir, would you like to say something? So can we end the meeting?
Yeah.
Good night,
Input, she said.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.